welcome to NFL Chaos with Jeremy. I am Jeremy, and I bring the chaos. And we got a very special guest tonight for this Friday night hangout. And of course, we'll be joined by our co-host in the very near future. But first, a little bit of this. Oh yeah, go. Amazing, that's my boy. He
breaks away from a sack and completes the pass for first down.
Oh, Kittle just may have made the most amazing catch.
He fights for the first down and gets out of bounds too.
It's no good. Overtime. Oh, what a catch. How do you drop that? What are you, Jamal Adams? Touchdown.
This is a touchdown all the way.
He reached over the pylon. San Francisco beat Cincinnati.
That just never gets old to me. You know what never gets old? Things that just come out so naturally. And when I said that, I don't know where it came from. Somebody dropped the pass, and it just came right out. Jamal Adams. It just fell right out of my mouth. It's probably too much green bean, because green bean's always talking about how he can't catch. So before we get started, let's say hello to a few people. I want to definitely acknowledge it. John Nolte, Salty Nuts, was the first one here. First one in the chat. And Jets Mess is ready. Hey, snacks. Yeah, hey, you, man. And I got some snacks, too. I got some of these. Yummy. Anyway, let's get some music going. I haven't given him music lately when I introduce him, so we got to give him some music. We got to get my co-host in here who just popped in. We'll see if he's in a dancing mood. I don't know why I play this. It's the worst. Hey, everybody. Without him, I'm just some geeky guy. Why would you watch me? But with him, I'm cool and hip and accepted with the cool kids. Welcome, Big Hip Time.
What's up, boy? I'm like Arthur Fonzarelli, and you're Richie Cunningham.
Exactly.
For all the old school fans. For all the older people, they get that.
Only the Fonz could have made Richie Cunningham cool.
Yeah. Only I can make cheese on French fries cool.
Oh, I love it. Oh, don't get me started. Why?
The cheese isn't hot, though. I'm very upset with this.
Oh, not too good. Not too good. Okay, without further ado,
how you doing,
let's also get in our special guest. I'll just give him the good rock and roll, you know? Guys, he's been doing it for years. When I was in diapers, this guy was YouTube. And when they invented YouTube, this guy was there. There's nobody better than Talk Jets. And one of my newest friends, warm welcome, Long Beach Joe.
What's going on? What's going on, Nick? How's it going on, Jeremy? When I was in diapers, he was doing it. Salutes to everyone. That was hilarious. Salutes to everyone. I want to thank you for having me on. Salutes to everyone in the chat as well. Thank you guys for watching. For those of you that do not know, I am Long Beach Joe. You can catch me on my YouTube, Long Beach Joe Jets. We talk Jets. I run a live radio show. I have a lot of fun. And again, I want to thank Jeremy for coming on or having me come on and sit down and talk Jets with you folks once again.
Yeah, man.
I didn't plan on eating. I apologize. Like 20 minutes before the show started, my kid's like, Daddy, I'm hungry. All right. Good. So I ordered a chicken parm and fries from next door. And we literally were walking in the door at 10 o'clock. I'm sitting down and I'm like, give me half of that shit. I'm like, you don't get all this. I'm like, go sit down over there and listen to whatever you're going to listen to and let me do my thing.
Yeah. No, it's all good, man. You got to eat.
You know what's fun about, and Nick is taking advantage of is that I set a precedent for this channel, to the point where, let me bring it up if you haven't noticed already, that I'm referred to as Snacks. So I'm known to eat. So once I eat, it's not like I'm going to tell somebody else don't eat, but so yeah, this is like, especially Joe, you understand. It's like we're doing this. It's late on the East Coast, but yeah, I come home from work. It's not always enough time to eat. So sometimes I got to just, two birds with one stone. I got to eat and do the show.
Yeah, no, listen, it's understandable. It's tough.
And you're like Jerry Lewis too. You do like telethons. You don't go on for like 45 minutes, man. You do like weekend long 48-hour shows where you're bringing in like tap dancers and shit so you can get like a bite to eat in between. So you deserve to eat, man. You do marathon shows.
Yeah, it's understandable when you're grinding and you're talking about the team and you're, going back and forth to a lot of people. It is what it is. So I respect it. Eat, do what you got to do.
Yeah, when I had my spring break, my school was closed and I had time. I had like all this time because my wife still has to do her classes and she's studying. So I'm home, staycation. There were people literally saying to me, "Did you even go off air last weekend?" Like the last 3 days. Like I feel like every time I looked at YouTube, it had the little live button next to it.
Yeah, that's how it goes, man. You're grinding and you're getting it in. And I respect that. That's why I really, we talk, often. And I tell you, I like your content. I like what you do. And, when you're connecting with people and talking about this football team, there's been a lot going on too. So, you've definitely been covering it all.
We're finally like a lightning rod for positive stories, though. I feel like finally, like we've turned the corner where it's not doom and gloom all the time.
Yeah.
It's not the world caving in on us or like the ground crumbling beneath our feet. Like I feel like building block stories are coming out, like stuff that we're going to talk about 2-3 years from now. Like, remember when, like good memories, not Vernon Golston stories.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that has become with the change of the front office. I think that's been huge for the New York Jets. Awesome. Getting Joe Douglas in the building and then getting rid of Gase, bringing in Sulla and LaFleur and all the staff that they brought in. If you look at what we're doing here, we're changing, the culture. We literally are changing the culture of the Jets. For the longest, we were a circus. We literally were a full-blown circus. Yeah. We were doing stupid things, whether it be in free agency. We were doing really stupid things with the structure of our front office as well. Whether it be, the debacle that was
coaching
even
the GM,
bringing in, coaching the GM, reporting to the owner, or the debacle just with McCagnon and Gase, or just all of that nonsense. Even back to Idzik, like that all of that stuff has just been a complete mess structurally for the New York Jets, and we made such a distinct turn away from that, bringing in Joe Douglas, and we're headed in the right direction. I think that's one of the best things that this franchise has done in years. Was bringing in somebody that understands what they're supposed to be doing, has a plan to make us better, and is following that plan. And the Johnsons put their hands up and backed away slowly. That's what happened. And I think that was been huge for us. Huge.
100%. Now, hear me out on this. We have to praise Adam Gase just for getting Joe Douglas, because Gase pushed the hardest for Joe Douglas. So I know Gase was an awful coach, but you have to give him credit. Gase was having the ownership go all in on Joe Douglas. Gase pushed very hard for Joe Douglas. So we have to give him credit just in that aspect. We don't have to give him credit as a coach or making the team better. But long-term domino effect, Gase got us Joe Douglas, and Joe Douglas got us Salah. So domino effect, you got to give Gase a little bit of credit.
Yeah, I mean, he ruined everything else, though. He ruined our franchise quarterback at the time, who we thought was our franchise quarterback. Yes. He ruined our offense.
Complete disaster in every other aspect.
Yeah, he ruined the team. He had us looking. Disaster. He had us as a place that was not a destination for free agents whatsoever. That I remember that GM search like it was yesterday. It was all about who could work with Gase. Because if you brought in somebody else, he was going to try to jettison them the same way he jettisoned McCagnon, who McCagnon needed to be fired. Along with Todd Bowles, they should have both been gone at the same time. I mean, if you want to give him credit for that, I guess,
I mean,
so
he was the only guy in building. That's where Joe Douglas, the Joe Douglas talk came from, was Gase pushing for him.
So Gase got us JD, Rich Kotite got us Wayne Corbett. Everybody could point to something good that they did, right? Everybody does something. But Aiden Tobin, this is an interesting comment from him. And guys, I want to give you some background here. Aiden Tobin is a Jacksonville Jaguar fan. So when he says Walker's going 1, we should listen, right? Because he's got his ear to the ground. He's listening to all their press conferences. And Aiden, I see you have a chat that gives a little bit more detail. We'll get to it later after we say hello to some people. But this is something I want to pay attention to and see if there's something to this. Because This would be very big. If Jacksonville took Walker 1, that would really shift the entire draft possibly. John Nolte is here saying Titans are going above 20 million for AJ. Okay. Jacob Finnegan is here. How you doing, Jacob? You want Kayvon and Hamilton? Okay. Dark Soldier is here. Some guy is here. I love that name. He's just some guy. And let's see if anybody else. Joe Campione is here. Just want to make sure everybody knows I see him.
I like Joe. Joe's on my level with the. We don't do cups of water.
Yeah,
we're big guys. We're big guys. That's a cup for us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And one of my biggest new supporters, well, not new, but last couple of weeks, Phenom is here. So welcome, Phenom. And so Aiden gives a little bit more detail what I was talking about before, and I'll let you guys chime in and just give your opinions of this. Jags pre-draft press, our GM was talking about how versatile, how he'd be a great fit, great person, great traits. Peterson sold. He thinks he's overthinking, but everything points Walker. What do you guys think of that?
I think it potentially helps us, right?
Yeah.
Like if we want Hutch or Thibodeaux to get the 4, we need other players to go in the top 3. So I think Ahmad Gardner goes 3 to Houston. I think that Lovey with 3 and 13, he can get a lockdown corner, and then he can get another piece at 13. I also see Houston with having so many needs. If somebody wants to jump up and get a quarterback, I think 3 is the perfect spot to do it. And if we get a quarterback and Walker to go before us, that guarantees us Hutchinson or Thibodeaux. So Walker going in the top 3 is part of the gift that the Jets need to land who we need to land. You know, I don't think many Jets fans are Walker guys. So I think this would be a gift from the football gods if Walker goes top 3.
How about you, Joe?
Yeah, you know, I love it. I don't know how realistic that is, though. I'm being completely honest with you. There's so many smoke screens and things going on right now, so many things being said. And I know we're going to talk about that tonight because there's things that I've seen people talk about with the New York Jets, right?
Yeah. JD threw up some smoke screens the other day. So.
Yeah, you know, there's been things that there's chatter amongst, you know, the fan base, and I love all Jets fans, you know, through and through. We all bleed green together. But there's some things that I feel like has been a lot of just overthinking, people being overcritical of certain players and all that stuff, you know, continuously going on. But if the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to pass on Aiden Hutchinson and take, you know, Travon Walker, who's phenomenal. That dude's a physical specimen. I think he ran like a 4.5 at 270. Just unbelievable. He's just ridiculously athletic. He's got it, and he can bring it off the edge. But I don't know if that actually happens. I feel like a lot of people are talking. There's also been rumors that the Jacksonville Jaguars are looking to trade down. That's also been out there as well. It's been talked about.
They've gotten 0 calls. The GM said in the press conference, we received 0 calls.
Yeah, but do you really
if there's not a quarterback class, you're not gonna.
Do you realistically think that they're going to sit up there and tell you like how many real calls they're going to get? No, they're not going to do that. So I don't know how realistic that is. But if it is realistic, I like it because, you know, that brings Hutchinson down. That almost, I guess, would ensure us Kayvon Thibodeaux at that point. Because I would think Houston would probably go O-line. Evan Neal could be there for them. They might take him. There's a lot of talk about Akeem Ekwonu as well. There was a lot of talk about him going number 1 at one point to Jacksonville. So there's a lot of discussion, but that puts us in a great position to be able to address edge or to be able to trade down as well, which is still an option for us because there's a lot of quarterback hungry teams, Carolina being one of them. There's other teams as well that would look to jump Carolina. The Falcons would be one of them. And we could waive that number 4 pick and say, hey, look, if you want to jump Carolina and get a guy like Malik Willis, who's been lighting it up since the combine, who's been huge, you know, on everybody's mind, then you need to put that package together, move up to 4. We get a ton of draft capital, and we'll still be able to grab one of those guys. So I know that there's been kind of a musical chairs kind of thought process, I guess, at number 1. Like you're talking about right now, Jeremy, people are saying Walker at number 1. I heard Akeem Ekwonu at number 1 before. Hell, I remember people talking about Evan Neal being the number 1 pick in the draft. People have also been talking about Aiden Hutchinson for I don't know how long being number 1 in the draft. So I don't know what's going to happen there with Jacksonville at 1, but they have a lot of options, and I don't necessarily know if I believe that Trevon Walker is going to be the number 1 pick. I don't know if I believe that.
Here's the best case scenario. Walker goes 1. Willis goes 2. Icky or Neal go 3. I talked about this in December and January, and I was big on this on Twitter. And people were like, there's no way Hutchinson falls to 4. And I'm like, I am going to manifest it by just speaking about it all the time. And the talk kind of died down, but 6 days out from round 1, it's like starting to get momentum again. Like, could the Jets possibly land Aiden Hutchinson at 4? Like I just presented a scenario where it's completely possible, right? Like, if they go Walker 1, Detroit takes a quarterback, and then at 3, Houston takes a lineman, or Gardner, or someone else. I mean, Hutchinson, in a perfect world for the Jets, the tides will be turning for our franchise if Hutchinson falls to 4.
Yeah,
we've always talked about we get burnt, we get the short end of the stick.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine a world where Hutchinson falls to 4? Jetland will be in hysterics.
Yeah, I think of course, we'd all go crazy, but I don't see the Lions taking a QB. They got Goff there. They just made the move for him.
Or if
I
they
think
trade out.
Yeah, or
if the trade comes up.
Yeah, they could make a trade, but I would figure that they wouldn't, because the value on Aiden Hutchinson right now is just, I mean, out of the moon right now. This dude is like, he's the guy. When you talk about edge in this class, a lot of people talk about Kayvon, which I love Kayvon. I don't know what's been going on with him. There's a lot of negative talk about him.
Me too.
I think that's extremely overblown. This is what I'm saying. I think a lot of people have become ridiculously overcritical about a couple players, right? And I know we're going to discuss him tonight. Can't wait to have that talk. But I just don't see a space where Hutchinson gets down to us, unless we trade up. I just don't see that. Well, I don't see the Lions passing on him, and I damn sure don't see Houston passing on him. I don't
think it's very probable, but it's not impossible.
Nobody saw us beating the USSR in late class 1980. But do you believe in miracles? Yes, I do.
If we can get Aiden Hutchinson, then I will believe in anything. I will believe in anything.
Yeah.
I will dress up as Santa every year just to make kids happy if we get this present.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love it, but I don't want to, me personally, I try to stay as, realistic or close to realistic as possible. I just don't want to set myself up to even think that. If it happens, perfect. If it happens,
you can't
perfect,
marry
I'd love
yourself
it.
to anybody coming into the draft.
But
you're setting yourself up for disaster because there's too many moving parts.
Exactly. But I just think
that would be the ultimate, is for Hutchinson to fall to 4.
Somehow. Yeah, that would be great. But I think honestly, if we're talking about, like super realistic stuff, I think that Kayvon probably becoming a Jet is about as realistic as it gets. And that's honestly the guy that I think that we're going to end up at 4. If we stay at 4, I think that's who we probably will end up with, more than likely.
It's definitely more.
And I'm 100% fine with that because I want that speed off the edge.
It's the more likely scenario. If Hutchinson falls, then we celebrate that when it happens. Although Thibodeaux could be the better player. There's no way we could sit here and say we know Hutchinson's going to be better than Thibodeaux. There's no way. Yeah. Thibodeaux, and I know, Joe, you're here out on the West Coast, so you probably get to see the Pac-10 like I do more often. We've been watching this guy for a while. We get to see him on Saturday nights. It's always televised pretty much.
Man.
He's special. He's special.
Yeah. And that's what blows. Jeremy, you've watched him before, just like I've watched him in and out even before. It's like, come on, some of the things that people are saying now, it's just kind of ridiculous. I remember that there was a time, like you, I'm pretty sure, Jeremy, when every single Jets fan was ready to buy a Thibodeaux jersey. They were literally saying, that guy from Oregon, whoever that guy is, that guy from Oregon that wears that Oregon jersey, yeah, he's going to be a Jet. Like, everybody was saying that. Now it's, oh, I don't want to have nothing to do with him. I don't want to touch the guy. I'd rather have this person over him. Oh, don't, even if he's there for a pass on him. And I find it really odd. And a lot of it comes from a lot of the talk around him and his brand. I feel like that's been very overblown. I want to tell a lot of Jets fans, listen, every player in the NFL cares about their brand. All of them. Yeah. All of them want to make money. I know this, some people think that that's not realistic, but it is very real. They
get a taste of it now because of the NIL in college. Exactly. So they're already in the self-promotion because of the fact that they can earn funds.
Look at this, guys. Hill wanted $30 million a year. He wanted to be the highest paid guy.
Yeah.
Debo wants a ton of money and be paid. Nobody doesn't want those players. That no Jet fan is saying, I don't want Hill because he wants money.
Yeah.
Nobody's saying I don't want Debo because he wants money.
Yeah.
Suddenly we're going to knock Thibodeaux because he wants money.
Exactly.
I mean,
you know what the problem is,
and
I'm gonna put a little bit of Jet history into this. We're so bad year in and year out that we start our draft prep in October. So we self-sabotage the own players that we want just to have something new to talk about, because most fans don't pay attention to the draft until January or February. Jets fans, we're in it when our season's over by the end of September. So we know all these guys, and now it's like, all right, I got to change the narrative. So like we do like a little self-sabotage to ourselves just to change up the discussion. But I'll tell you right now, I will do the worm if we get Thibodeaux. I love the kid. I love the speed. I don't care. You want to come to New York and promote all you want, man. Get all your endorsement deals. You're not going to be the first athlete to ever do it. People make extra money in New York. Be proud of that. That's not a negative, because all these people who are knocking it are the same ones and going out and buying Old Spice because Saquon Barkley uses it, or drinking Pepsi because Aaron Judge tells you to. Like, so it's kind of hypocritical that fans are attacking a player, but meanwhile, on the other hand, they fully support whenever a player promotes something.
Yeah, and
so
here's another thing about that too, though. I think a lot of fans, and again, I'm a fan myself, and I love all Jets fans, regardless of where you're at, what you're doing, whatever. If you bleed green, I'm right there with you. I have to explain to people that if you suck, if you're a bad player, then nobody's going to buy anything from you. Your brand won't work. To have a brand, and all the guys you just named, even Saquon, when he was on, like you said, he was big in promotion, Aaron Judge, all those guys. If you are a trash player, nobody's going to want you to promote anything. Your jersey is not going to sell if you suck.
Baker Mayfield had to deal with Progressive.
Yeah, but Baker Mayfield, and we'll see where Baker's now, though. We'll see how many more endorsement deals he's going to get. He's not, but there's other guys that are really putting things together. So for him to be successful and him to want his brand to work, he's going to have to produce on the field. If you don't produce, nobody's going to want you to be the face of their brand because you don't have any value like that. So that's huge as well. To hear a guy
100%.
talk about how he wants to grow means if he wants to grow off the field, he's going to have to grow on the field. He's going to have to light it up for us. He's going to have to leave it all on the field. He's going to have to, play week in and week out and put together numbers. So I like it. I like the bravado. I like him to come in and be excited. And again, if you hear about all of the things from his coaching staff, if you talk to scouts, some scouts at least, they'll tell you that he's a guy that comes in and works hard. He's an alpha. He wants to fit in with everybody. He wants to do all that stuff. You talk to his teammates. There's been interviews with that. They talk about the same thing. So I don't have a problem with Kayvon Thibodeaux. I don't necessarily understand why everybody else has kind of backed away. I think, again, there's been a lot of things that's been overblown. But I think that, honestly, he's probably going to be our option there at 4. And if he does, and we bring him in, I love it because we need edge pressure. We have not had a pass rusher since John Abraham. That's one of the reasons why our defense has been so bad. That's the main reason our defense has been so bad. Yeah. We cannot rush the passer. You have 400 years to throw the football against the New York Jets. And when you look at the current state of the NFL, if you don't have a pass rusher, you're going to have issues. You're going to be dead in the water. When you look at what the Bucs did to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, what happened? They made Patrick Mahomes look like Sam Darnold because he was running for his life, because they had edge pressure. Okay, 2 guys.
Why the Giants beat the Patriots twice. They were able to send
the Giants
4.
won a Super Bowl just the same way. We need to change that around so that we can become competitive. This defense,
and we're doing a double dip.
Literally benefits.
We're getting Carl Lawson back
pass
too.
rush. If you do not have pass rush in this defensive scheme that we run here, you're going to have big time issues.
And we're double dipping because we're adding Carl Lawson and potentially Thibodeaux. Right. So we're going light years ahead this season. Yeah. Hopefully everyone stays healthy in Jesus' name.
Yeah, but we no, there's no question about it. If Thibodeaux is there, I really hope. I'd be so disappointed if we don't run to the podium. If Thibodeau's there, I don't even want to use up all the time. I just want to see them run to the podium and just make this guy a Jet. I mean, I would be absolutely flabbergasted if Thibodeaux is there and they were not running to the podium.
Let me give you a scenario right now.
Talked out of getting us an edge for too long. We have found reasons, excuses, nonsense, and bullshit. It's like this guy has been the guy since high school. It's like it's such a load of crap. all this is smoke screens. I trust JD's not going to fall for it. If we're blessed enough to have Thibodeaux on that board, we're going to run up and finally get our edge. Finally.
Let me present the scenario to you. We're on the clock. Hutchinson and Thibodeaux are both there. We take Icky.
Well, I think you just answered. I think you just answered Peo's question, because Peo said, "Who could the Jets pick that would make Jet fans mad this draft?" So Peo time, Rams YouTuber. Here's our answer. You just heard Nick say it. If Hutchinson and Thibodeaux were on the board, or if one of them were on the board, and the Jets came up and took Aquano, you'd have a lot of very angry Jets fans.
If you took an O lineman and not an edge,
not
that
for
would
me.
Be something somebody else would do.
Yeah.
But let me say this: if we're gonna deal Fant during the draft, like if they decide, all right, we're gonna move Fant, he's got 1 year left, we're gonna try to trade him for like a mid rounder, like a 3, 4, or 5, and then you take Icky first, and then you move Fant later. It makes sense, right? Because Joe Douglas's comment in the press conference says something that might not be a luxury now could be a cornerstone down the road. So that kind of said to me, I might be misquoting him, but it was something along those lines. That says to me something like, okay, we might not need the lineman right this second, but we might need him long-term in a couple months. That kind of like, you know what I mean? I'll find the direct quote while you guys are talking.
Yeah. The only reason why I would disagree with that move is because Fant to this point, right, has been solid for us. Very solid. Of course, I don't think he's not going to be here for, the next 10 years or something like that. But he's a guy that has been a very, solid member of our offensive line, especially again when last year when Mekhi Becton went down, and I'm sure we're going to discuss that as well later on.
That's why I said Fant.
I can't.
That's why I said Fant.
I can't really see us like necessarily moving on from him because we don't have an answer at edge at all. There's nothing there, and a lot of people talking about Carl Lawson coming back, and that's wonderful. But he's coming off of a torn Achilles. We have no clue which kind of shape he's going to come back in, and there's going to be time that he's going to need to recover from that injury. I think a lot of people don't necessarily understand that. And even the best season that he had when he was fully healthy was 8.5 sacks. In today's current NFL, we need way more than that. So to me, I think you have to address the needs on your defense. I think the biggest need would be edge. So I don't know if we would do that. But for me, I think the pick that I would be upset at, it's two of them. One would be Kyle Hamilton. If you take Kyle Hamilton at 4, I'm going to have a problem with that because we don't need a safety, okay? Like, you don't have to have a safety, unbelievable safety to be great in this league, and especially with the defense that we run, you don't have to have some all-star safety. And the other one would be Derek Stingley. I am very concerned about the injuries. I am very concerned with the up and down production, and he is not a guy, especially when you look at the history of the New York Jets and our lack of luck, right? We test those waters before, and we've done it where we're taking guys that have injury histories in the first round, and it doesn't work out for us. We cannot do that either. I don't think we can afford to take a guy that's not going to pan or be close enough to panning in this draft for us, because it is vital for us to hit on this pick.
Yeah. Say my line, Jeremy. You've made it your line now.
As long as the players we pick hit and become
whoever we pick has to hit. whatever we take, it has to hit. No matter what order Joe takes them in, if we go edge, receiver, safety, linebacker, they got to hit. Mm-hmm. We go edge, receiver, D tackle, offensive lineman, whatever. It got to hit. The first 4 picks have got to hit.
Mm-hmm.
I have Rod D. He puts his 5 edge rankings up there. I like them. I have no problem with his rankings. I mean, I'm not saying if I wrote my 5, I don't know if it would have looked like that. It looks like I may have. Because
I would switch 3 and 5. I would switch JJ to 3, Karlaftis to 5, and that would be my order.
Yeah. I think for us, I think Walker for some might be higher. Like, I think he might be more of a scheme fit for certain teams. I do think Walker is just a ridiculous freak of an athlete, and I think there are teams that he could be a really good fit with. I just don't think it's what the Jets need, because we can't gamble that he could, because he wasn't used that way in college. We can't gamble that he's going to be a great pass rusher.
We need the pedigree of somebody who gets to the quarterback consistently. Right. We can't hope that you evolve into that.
Exactly. Yeah. It can't be a roll of the dice. It can't be, well, he's a great athlete, so we'll be able to.
It can't be a Vernon Golston pick. Right. It can't be a workout warrior. It can't be a combine champ. It's got to be a guy that has consistently gotten to the quarterback at every level, and that screams Thibodeaux to me.
So I mean, I have no problem with these rankings. You might shift them around, but this is because I see some outrageous things out there. This is very reasonable to say Hutch, Thibodeaux, Karlaftis, Walker, JJ is very reasonable to me. I like JJ. Like, it's hard for me to have JJ at 5 because I like him so much. I really like watching his tape. But at the same time, it's not like I think it's ridiculous. You know what I mean? I might have a different opinion and think, I think he has a little bit more bend than Karlaftis. I feel a little bit more confident in his technique than Karlaftis, but I don't think it's ridiculous. Karlaftis is a very gifted, intelligent, great athlete. So it's not like Karlaftis can't end up being a great player.
And this is what's crazy, Jeremy, is that I've literally had multiple discussions with various fans and also analysts that really have literally said, I've asked this question: if Thibodeaux and Jermaine, if Thibodeaux is there at 4, would you take Jermaine Johnson over Thibodeaux? And there are people literally, and I'm sure you've seen it, that are saying that Jermaine Johnson way better than Kayvon Thibodeaux, and they would take him at 4.
Some say that.
There are people that have said that, and that's what I'm saying. Is there's so many things flying at this point as far as draft takes. It's getting crazy. It's crazy. It really is. Different thought processes. It really is.
But I feel like that's just like buying into what they're reading in the media and not watching the tape, because the numbers in every stat, and Frankie from Flatbush or Adam, or our guy here, Watsu-K99, they're those are information guys. They could break it down for you a million different ways, and everything points to Thibodeaux. When you talk about production, you talk about win percentage, there's nothing that doesn't point to Thibodeaux. And even frankly, and I like Jermaine Johnson, I like him. But even if you watch the tape, you don't even need those numbers. I mean, when I watch the tape of both players, I like JJ. If we took him at 10 and went and double dipped on edge, part of me would applaud that. Part of me really would applaud that move, because I said, wow, if JD really believes in Jermaine Johnson, that's a bold move. We're going to be ridiculous if he's right? Mm-hmm. But when I look at the two together, even without looking at data, I could see it with my eyes. Like Thibodeaux is a freaking monster.
Yeah. And I think he's got the charisma too. I saw Phenom just made a comment that says our next D-end edge must have the Gastineau Abraham gene. They had charisma. They had the crowd excited. When you saw Gastineau or Abraham coming off the edge, you got up out of your seat because you knew something exciting was about to happen. You jumped off the couch when you saw them bend the corner and you knew they had the tackle beat. And they knew how to play to the crowd too. Abraham was very soft-spoken, but on the field, he had some energy to him. Mm-hmm. Thibodeaux coming off the edge, man. Even Jermaine's got a little bit of swagger to him too, Any of these guys that have the speed coming off the edge to pair with Lawson, and now you got Solomon Thomas, you got Quinnen, you got John Franklin Myers, you got Huff, you got guys that you could throw out there time and time again. We just re-signed Curry after he was dealt with the blood disorder. We got guys who can get to the quarterback, and when you get that elite guy, everybody works off of them. Yeah. And I'm very, very excited to see what our roster looks like come Saturday night or Saturday afternoon when the draft is over next week.
Yeah. Hey guys, I'm sorry. I just want to quickly say we got 28 in the stream. Please hit that like button. Like it up. Let's get some more people in here. We're at 29 now, so keep it going, guys.
Tell your friends.
Yeah. Sorry. No problem. And I think and to speak to that point, I think a lot of people, when we talk about the draft and we talk about players, I think one of the things that kind of gets left out is the attitude aspect of coming here and playing with the New York Jet and being a Jet, right? Because you can have all the physical skills. That's wonderful. But if you're not mentally ready to deal with what you're going to deal with when you come in here, which is the fan base is going to be on top of you and the media is going to be on top of you. This is completely different than playing somewhere else in the middle of nowhere where you can kind of get on by. It's not playing in Jacksonville here. Okay. Yeah. The media will follow you from your apartment to the facility and then back from the facility to your apartment. We've seen people get followed to bars. We've seen reporters report on what guys are doing out late at night. If you don't have a certain mental makeup when you come here, it'll break you. We've seen, the media and the pressure and the fan base and everything that comes with being a Jets break players. And I feel like that's also a big aspect as well to looking at guys in the draft. Can they come here and be mentally ready for what they're going to have to deal with when they come here? And to me, Kayvon, when you hear him talk, when you hear him, when you see just some of the attitude, when you hear people talk about him as well, I think he also has the mental makeup to survive here as well.
Worst nightmare is Thibodeaux, Hutch, and Walker going 1 to 3. That would suck. We would have to trade back. I honestly for me, a nightmare is just Tib and Hutch not being there. Because I like Walker a lot as a player, but I don't like him as a Jet. So remember, the problem with trading back is that you need a partner. That's the problem. And if there's no partner, then we're going to have to figure out. JD has somebody on his board he'll take. There's somebody he'll take, whether if it's not an edge. Like in this scenario of these three guys, if it's not an edge, I guarantee you he has a higher, the highest guy that he has on the board, and he'll take him if there's no good trade partner. I mean, what do you think, Joe?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I mean, if that were to happen, I don't think that that's necessarily like the worst thing to happen in the world either, because there's still other players that we can target. If we trade down, that's fine. Because guess what that does? That gives us more capital to continue to build this football team, right? Let's say we get a trade. There's a bunch of trade partners, because at that point, edge would be, the top edge guys will be off the board, right? If we're going Hutchinson, Walker, and Thibodeaux, right? So those top guys would be gone. So of course you'd have guys that are looking for what? Quarterback hungry teams at that point, because that would mean Malik Willis would still be there. Then guess what? You can leverage that. You can mortgage that and say, hey, look, you got this guy sitting here at 4. We know that Carolina is probably going to take him. They ain't got no answer, right? So do you want to move up? So you can move down to 8. You could still land a guy like Jermaine Johnson and get more compensation. Or, you might be looking to take Sauce at that point. Maybe, because there's been a lot of talk about Sauce as well. Maybe you look to take him there. So I'm not necessarily scared about that possibility either, because there's still other guys. You got Boye Mafe that's still out there too. We could end up taking him later on in the draft. So there's other options for us. I'm not worried about that whatsoever.
I saw
go ahead, Nick.
Adam commented earlier, Y2K in the comments, about how the linebacker rankings keep changing.
Mm-hmm.
The reason they change is because different people view linebackers differently for different schemes. So somebody who might be ranked number 1 for the Jets and 49ers type of scheme could be ranked like 5 or 6 for someone else's type of scheme, or vice versa. You know what I mean? You're ranking a 3-4 linebacker differently than a 4-3 because you value him differently. So, I mean, the linebackers, what you need a linebacker to do in each system changes from scheme to scheme. So the rankings will be more erratic. Edge rusher, your job is to go get the quarterback. The edge rusher rankings are more consistent with just getting to the quarterback. The linebacker rankings could be different. And actually, Owen just asked, what linebackers do I think fit our scheme the best? I love Nakobe Dean, and I love Christian Harris. I really do. Lloyd is 24 already, so it's like
I love that he gets nailed because of his age. This poor guy.
But we did it with Marcus May. We took Marcus May, and he was old, and he never got to the second contract because now he's 28, 29. He's got an injury history.
Yeah. I mean, Marcus May, there was a lot of other issues too. That DUI, I think, also kind of sullied, some things that was going on, especially when you don't report those things. I'd have no problem with Lloyd. I think Lloyd is unbelievably athletic, really solid in coverage too. And I think a lot of people don't Also, don't remember if he's the guy that we end up with a little bit later on in the draft. We struggled this year covering running backs coming out the backfield. We also got ate up with screens. Does anybody remember guys just running screens constantly on us? We couldn't do anything about it. The sideline to sideline speed that we had was a big time issue. So Devin Lloyd would be fine. I wouldn't necessarily be upset about that. Now, depending on where we took him in the draft, how things would play out. If that was a guy that we ended up with, after trading down maybe into like I said, 8 or later than that, I would be okay with it because there's also other needs. And again, when you look at the situation that we have with CJ Mosley, this dude's making an unbelievable amount of money and he is old. You want to talk about 24? CJ is almost 30 and he is getting paid like insane amounts of money as an inside linebacker. I think it's $17.5 million, if I'm correct. Anybody?
Mosley?
Yeah, I think he's getting paid 17.5. Yeah. I think next year it escalates to 18.5.
Yeah.
Mike McCagnon, what were you thinking? What was on your mind, dude? What was wrong with you?
He overpaid the two
that's insane.
Positions in the NFL that you can underpay: running back and linebacker.
Oh,
because if you have a good D line in front of you, you can put a walk-on linebacker out there to make plays if the D line is keeping offensive linemen off of them. And if you have a good offensive line, look at Denver, Phillip Lindsay, and all the other ones that they drafted throughout the years late that just go in and are 1,500-yard rushers because the scheme. So to overpay for a linebacker and running back was literally the worst offseason in Jets history.
It was insane. That was insane.
Hey, Boogie Down Bronx, I got some food. He's getting on me for not eating. I'm not eating enough. So, guys, Braden, who loves Lloyd, by the way, so I'm sure there's going to be some comments from him later. And by the way, I just want to say, like, even if Lloyd played great from 24 to 30, 6 years, wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. But I understand what you're saying. The Kobe Dean's a lot younger. Don't overlook Quay Walker, who Dom C had pointed out a long time ago.
Yeah.
But now Chris Sims is like brought into the light too. But Braden asked,
never go wrong with a boy from Georgia. That's my squad. Never go wrong with the defensive guy from Georgia.
But what do you guys think of Kadarius Toney potentially being traded? Any interest?
No. For the Jets? No. The Giants want to get rid of him because of his character issues, his lack of commitment. It's all Family Feud. It's red X after red X when you look at Kadarius Toney and the type of players and characters that Joe Douglas is bringing in. He doesn't fit the mold. He's not that great of a talent in order to make a concession to. It's a complete 100% no, I think, on the Jets.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily be interested unless they were just dealing him for dirt cheap. But like, Nick said as well, there's a lot of character concerns, production concerns. There's also a lot of injury history with him as well. He gets nicked up quite a bit. I don't think the New York Jets would be super interested in Kadarius Toney.
No, I don't even think Joe makes a call.
So, to me, it's interesting because I thought, we seem to get the better of the Giants in a lot of these situations lately with JD because they take him and then we get in the second round Elijah Moore. And to me, there's no comparison,
And Giants fans were like killing us that they got a receiver ahead of us. Like, all right, good for you. You didn't get the right one.
Yeah, right. How badly would they love that trade if they can get Elijah Moore and give us Toney? And we would laugh at it, So,
Yeah.
So no, the fact that if it was true, if there's anything to that they want to trade him, that tells you everything you need to know. That's like, if that's not a red flag, what is?
Yeah.
So especially with a new coach coming in. So you got new management coming in, new coach, and they want to trade him. That is not a good look.
Yeah.
Rob D with a fantastic comment. He goes, getting Kadarius Toney would be getting the wrong KT. Kayvon Thibodeaux is the only KT I want. Perfect. Well said, my friend. Very well said. That's the only KT we want to touch.
Yeah, going back to edge, I hope Lawson's 100%. He's an awesome dude besides being a great edge rusher. Yeah, man, I'll tell you. I don't know what hurt more when he got injured. The fact that we had lost him for that year and I was looking so forward to seeing him play, or the concern that it was so much worse that it was an Achilles. It hurt so much that it was Achilles, because then I said, man, it's not only that we lost him for the year, we don't know for sure that we're ever going to get to see the guy we thought we were going to get. And that really stung.
Yeah.
And he was dominating in camp, and he was becoming the leader of the team. Like that was a big blow for us to take. But I think we were so young and dumb as a roster that it didn't affect us, because we haven't hit the winning pedigree yet, where I think the injury impact affected the team. I think young and dumb was a blessing last year because you didn't see any blow-ups on the sidelines. You didn't see anybody acting childish, you know what I mean? Slamming helmets or like flipping the crowd off. You saw a young bunch of hungry dogs building one another up, encouraging one another. You saw a head coach that they were taking on his personality. They were playing with some passion. They weren't giving up in games. Even when the games were steamrolled, when we were out of it, you had good men on the team who have a common goal, and they know they might have to work a little bit and take a couple ass lickings or kickings. I'm sorry, before they. I don't know. I guess I'm on Cinemax late night in my mind, but they had to take a few ass kickings before they start handing them out. So I really like the character of the people that are coming together. Carl Lawson was going to be one of the faces of this team last year. It was going to be Wilson's growth and Carl Lawson being the face of the defense. So I'm very, very interested and hopeful that he comes back and is able to do what we all hope he can.
Yeah. Well, my thing is, and I think this is one of the reasons why when I've had discussions with multiple people, I've been talking about the New York Jets double dipping at edge, even if they stay at 4-10. The possibility for me, or the idea of taking 2 edge rushers at 4-10 is right up my alley, because again, we don't know exactly what Carl Lawson is coming back as, and even if he does come back, and let's say he's the guy, still taking 2 edges would benefit us, our defense greatly, because we'd finally be able to get that pressure. If you look at what Buffalo did. Buffalo has one of the best defenses in the league. They've been dominating, for quite some time now in the AFC East. And that defense has Rousseau. They had Jerry Hughes at one point. They've got, all those guys up front, Star Tulele, all those guys, right?
Yeah.
What did they do this year? They went and grabbed Von Miller. Why? Because they understand they're going to have to compete with teams like the Chiefs and various other teams that have these star-studded offenses. And guess what destroys offenses? Pressure on the quarterback. So even though they have all those guys, right, they're still going to get more, because guess what? I've never seen a quarterback be able to throw a 40-yard bomb if he was on his butt. You know what I'm saying? You get knocked out before you get the ball out. Good luck trying to score that touchdown. You feel me? So that is a huge sign here, right? In the NFL, where it's a passing league, it's all about scoring points. So you need to make sure you can get the guy that's chasing the guy that's trying to throw the football and score those points. So
how about all this debating that we're having? What if we end up with KT and JJ?
I would that's literally
right?
been that's literally
because Carl Lawson only has 2 years left on his deal. So if he's not the player this year that you expected him to be, you got 2 guys going into their second year. Or if you take Mafe in round 2, right? If you take a second edge guy in the top 4 picks, I'm fine with it as well.
Or even if we trade back up, because there's been a lot of talk about trading back up into the first round and grabbing Mafe as well. I could see us doing that. So taking 2 edges, I definitely don't think it's off the board. It's been one of the things I've constantly been talking about. I think that it did affect us last year, because we saw that, we struggled against teams to get that pressure. But one of the things that really popped off the board, right? Once Carl Lawson went down, everybody was kind of down, but everybody went, man, we're really going to get shredded because our secondary is just going to get eaten alive. That didn't necessarily happen like that, right? We saw the Bryce Hall step into the number 1 role and really do his job well. We saw Eccles really show some flashes last year, put up some great stuff. We saw Michael Carter, when he was healthy, be one of the best young slot corners in the league. That was crazy. You don't see those guys kind of step up.
Remember Ray Mickens? I see Michael Carter being Ray Mickens. He's like that little speedy slot guy who can cover anyone and go anywhere that they go.
Yeah. So
when you need him to, if an injury, he can step up and play the outside. But you'd rather him he's your slot.
Yeah, you'd rather him be a slot corner. So we saw all those things kind of happen. And then again, when you look at what we did this offseason, you add DJ Reed. So we got all these guys coming back. And that's why, and I hear a lot of discussion constantly about taking a corner early. And I start to often think, do we really need a corner? Because I think one of the biggest issues last season was no pass rush. So when we couldn't get to the quarterback. You got 1,000 years to throw the football. Anybody secondary is gonna, give up yards here or there. So
the days of
I'm
Revis
telling you,
or
I'm telling you, if we get some edge rush, I think things are very different here defensively for us this upcoming season.
The rules are so predicated towards the offense that there's no more Revis. There's no more. Even someone like Ramsey, who was labeled the best corner cover, was getting dogged in the playoff. Like, gave up the pass to Evans for the touchdown. Like, even the best corners are getting dogged if the line doesn't get there because of the way the rules are. You can't impede a guy at the line like Revis would do. You can't disrupt the timing. So
you got to win in the trenches. You got to win in the trenches.
And that's what this 49ers scheme offensively and defensively is. It's build the trenches, dominate on the line. If you can dominate the offensive line, you can run the ball at will. You can do play action. You can have guys open. Now you're running the ball. You got to put 8 in the box. We'll take advantage of you downfield. There's domino effects. Obviously, you need the quarterback making the throws. But when you can dominate in the trench, hell, Jimmy G went to a Super Bowl and was missing open receivers to win the game. But they were in that game because of their D-line and their O-line.
Yeah.
So guys, you got to build those two things. And that's the thing that Douglas and Salah, I believe their ideology is on par. Like, we can take a 5th-round running back and put him in once we have 5 studs on the line, and the guy can be a 1,300-yard rusher.
Yeah,
You've seen it in San Francisco. Mitchell came up this year as a no-name rookie. Mostert was big. Anybody you've plugged in there has been successful because the line is so damn good. And that's where I would love to see us get. We take another running back, maybe like a Robinson from Alabama or Cook from Georgia, and team him up with Carter. Or you get one of these Mostert types, these speedy guys who are one cut and then go get the fastest back in the one cut running game.
Yeah, and that's the thing I've been talking about as well, Nick. There's been a lot of discussion as well about taking a running back in the 2nd round, and I always kind of halt that and say, whoa,
No.
San Francisco. If you look at, I'm on the West Coast. I'm forced to watch San Francisco. That they had an undrafted rookie free agent run and for a ton of yards. They dominate up front. They run the ball all the time. They're near the top of the league every single year in rushing. And I think one of the biggest issues we had here offensively was we couldn't run the ball effectively last year at all. We couldn't do it. And I think that once that changes, again, with us bringing in, that guard that we got from San Francisco to this offseason, the guy that we saw, Lakeland Tomlinson, bringing him in the building, Mekhi Becton coming back, healthy this season, I think we're going to be dominating trenches up front, and this offense is going to progress. Now, I look at our running back situation. I say we got Michael Carter, we got Tevin Coleman, Ty Johnson kind of up and down. He might be on the bubble this year because there's a guy, Austin Walter, okay? We gave him the ball this season, and we saw real big flashes from him, so he could be the guy that could also step up and really take a spot if Ty Johnson doesn't get it together.
He was explosive. So Friggle D comes in, and this is from before. He's making a point about offensive line, why he wouldn't be upset with an OL, because Fant is 30 and Mekhi is a question mark now, or Mekhi is a question mark. So I just want to make this point though. So I'm going to make 2 points. I think Fant doesn't have a lot of tread in his tires, and I'll make 3 points, and he's got a couple of years anyway if we decide to pay him. Number 2. In my opinion, Becton is not a question mark. He really isn't, in my opinion. He's a guy who got hurt, maybe he has some things to work on. Maybe there was some things that some fans didn't like. He had a pretty amazing rookie year. He got his knee rolled on by a teammate his 2nd year, and big guys took longer to heal. He's not a question mark to me. I'm not saying I'm 100% confident in any player, and everybody, you can pick out little concerns, but I'm not going to sit here and act like he's this tremendous question mark. I like what I see in the Twitter videos. I like that he's working out. I like that he wears a big bust shirt on his shirt, so he has a huge chip on his shoulder. I love that stuff. But here's my final point. Even if it's true that you feel we need an offensive lineman, one of the things about JD is he's supposedly an offensive line guru. That's his specialty. That's his strength. I've seen a million teams, build an offensive line, and it doesn't have to be all 1st-round picks. You got to believe he's able to get at least one successful pick that's not a 1st-rounder for an offensive lineman. Like, you shouldn't have to go top 5 pick to get a good offensive lineman. So what do you guys think?
you can hit later, but there are guys who end up being blue chip players, but taking blue chip prospects has a greater hit percentage, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can do it. You can wait. But with the luxury of having multiple picks in the first round in multiple years and having between last year and this year 7 picks in the first 2 rounds, why not? When you value the trenches that bad, like when you value the trenches that much, do it. And now after you set your line, after these 2 years, the line should be set. Now in your future drafts, you can go and take the linebackers, the wide receivers, the tight end. You can go take your luxury picks because your meat is there. Now you can add the gravy on the outside and guys behind the trenches.
You put Fant on the bench, though?
Yeah.
No, I honestly, if we take Icky, I would try to move Fant. Okay. With 1 year left on his deal, I would try to move him during the draft for like a 3, 4, 5, whatever we can get for him, to be honest. Yeah, I think he has a lot of good play to offer. I like him. It's nothing against him, but if we can find a 21-year-old stud who's 8 years younger than him, plug him in now and have a guy for 12, 13 years like Icky, I'm all for it, to be honest. Like I know it's a tough decision to make because Fant was so valuable to us last year. I don't expect Joe to do it, but I wouldn't be against it if it happens. Let me say that.
Yeah. I'm not with that. And the reason why is because when I look at the situation, a lot of people say that Fant is 30. That was the question there. Well, offensive linemen play until like their late 30s. It's not like he's a 30-year-old running back or a 30-year-old corner or anything like that. Offensive linemen play.
And he hasn't started his entire career. So he doesn't have a lot of miles on him.
They play well into their 30s. Look, the big thing about offensive line as well is continuity, right? You want the same guys running on the offensive line. They learn each other and understand. Fant was playing extremely well. It's been kind of odd to see the arc that I think a lot of fans have had with Fant, where at one point people were saying, hey, he should be our starting left tackle, right? For it doesn't even matter if Mekhi comes back. It doesn't matter. Fant is the best of the best. And now a lot of people are discussing, possibly moving on from him. I think what the New York Jets need to do when we're looking at, even though we have multiple first round picks, you still need to address big holes. And I think projecting injuries or projecting issues isn't necessary. If you want to go offensive line a little bit later, then that's fine. You can. That's why we have backup linemen. That's why we have Feeney and Conner McDermott and those guys that can step in, if there's issues. But to me, Mekhi Becton, I think is going to come back this year. When Mekhi Becton is healthy, right, in this league, and we've seen when he's healthy, he is a top 10 tackle in this league easily. There was 1 year that I think it was the first year that he was here. Right? People were talking about he may be the best player on our offense, period, that year. He was the guy that was dominating up front.
He's very, very good in run.
Yeah,
when he gets his hands on you, obviously he can destroy people.
You can't get away.
Pass pro technique needed a lot to be desired for him. Don't forget, Carl Lawson was dogging him every day last year.
And Carl Lawson's and I understand that Carl Lawson's a very good edge, though. And of course, you want a guy like his pedigree. Yeah, they should be putting up stuff, but again, we didn't get to see, anything because he had Greg Van Roten thrown into the back of him. And I think that soured a lot of Jets fans on him, but they don't understand his name correctly. Anybody would have gotten hurt in that situation. Yeah. Anybody.
You got to pronounce his name correctly. It's Van Roten.
Oh,
we've renamed him here. We've added a T.
Anybody
he took out a knee and we added a T.
Anybody would have gotten hurt in that situation. I think Mekhi is going to come back, and I know a lot of Jets fans talk to him crazy on the timeline. They talk to him crazy on Twitter, which is shocking to me. Right?
They need to get Mike Tyson. They need to get Mike Tyson. The way people talk on Twitter to an NFL player who's 6'7" and 360.
They need to get Mike Tyson.
I'm 6'3", 285 right now, and I wouldn't open my mouth to
it's insane. Some of the things that I've seen people say to him, and not just say to him, say to his family as well, has been disturbing, to say the least, right? But I think that we'll be all right if he comes back this year, which again, if you we've seen the workout videos, we saw all that. There's a lot of discussions also about him not being in shape, which is not true. If you look at a lot of the pictures and workout videos from last year, even if you look at the pictures when he came to the facility last year during the off-season program, he was unbelievably thin. Like he was in better shape that year than he was the year he got drafted.
Yeah.
If you just look at the pictures, he was slim, he was cut, he looked ridiculous. It's just he got injured. So I think if he comes back this year and is healthy, everything will be fine. And again, if you look at what he's doing now, he's working with his trainers, he's working with offensive line guys. Duke Mayweather, I know, is a big guy, that's in his corner as well. Yeah, top of the line guy. And I'm going to put this out there as well, which is already out there, but I'm going to put this out there as well. Duke Mayweather has hinted to that the injury that people are saying that he has isn't the injury that he actually has. Duke Mayweather has come out and said that if you look at the timeline that he was given, that Mekhi was never going to come back from the injury that he actually has. He got into it with a fan on social media. I don't know if he's deleted the tweets, but you can go look it up. He got into it and said that Mekhi was not going to come back because of whatever injury he actually does have. It was a bit worse than what was reported. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at that situation, right, and you look at, hey, there's a timetable. Of course, he's also a big guy as well. All right. So the weight issue, or not the weight issue, but the pressure on that knee, the pressure on his limb and stuff like that is very different. So I think, again, he's going to come back. He's going to be healthy. He's got a lot of vitriol, a lot of anger, a lot of things that he wants to prove to people. And I can't wait to see it, because I think he's going to shut a lot of people up this upcoming season.
Something we've said on the show early on in the show, like one of the first times I was on, was that the best thing for the New York Jets and their fans is Becton and Fant coming in and going at it at their best to win the left tackle spot. It only makes the team better. If those two are going at it and pushing each other, and it raises the water level for the rest of the line, we win. Like the worst thing is one of them to, not that I think they would do this, I'm just throwing out a scenario, is to get down in the dumps and give up on themselves and, I don't want to be a part of this. I think that they raise the water level of each other, and I think competition is great for everybody. And I think that if you have this line coming in the way it's structured, you can bring back Adam Gase and you can run the Frank Gore dive up the middle 20 times a game, and he'll run for 120. Whoa.
I hear you, Nick. Whoa. I don't ever want to see.
That was just a tease from the joke from earlier on.
I don't ever want to see that guy.
Adam Gase is home. He's like, now I can run the dive. Damn it.
I definitely cannot wait for the competition. In my opinion, right? If Mekhi Becton is fully healthy, Fant is not even. It's not on the same level, Mekhi. I think in my brain, Mekhi Becton is going to be our starting left tackle if he's fully healthy. And I think that we end up moving Fant back to that right side, and our offensive line is better for it. Like you said as well, Nick, that competition is going to be huge. It's going to be competition at every position, which is big. Say it again.
It was supposed to be Becton and Vera Tucker on the left side, but it ended up being Vera Tucker and Fant. Now those two would be on the right side together. So they would still have their communication set up. And then you have a veteran like Tomlinson, who Becton, playing wise, technically he's still a rookie. He only played one game in his second season. So you put a Pro Bowl veteran like Tomlinson next to Becton, I think it just raises the level of the line, and it makes Zach Wilson and the running game so much better. I'm looking forward to having guys on 3rd and 2 where we don't have to come up with trick plays or stupid calls, because we know, hey, we're going to run it down your damn throat, and you're not going to be able to stop it.
Exactly. And again, I think a lot of people also forget this is a run-first offense that we're in.
Oh, absolutely.
This offense that we have, and I've talked to a lot of Jets fans, they think we're like the Saints or something like that. No. We should be launching the football. This is a run-first offense that we are in. We have to – the biggest issue last year is we could not run the ball consistently, and we tried. We just couldn't get it done. There was no push up front. With McGovern and Greg Van Roten was just letting up pressure as well. Interior, that was big time issues. And
who?
Connor McGovern?
No, the other one.
McGovern.
Van Roten. We'll get you there, Joe. We'll get you there.
The reality is
who?
The reality is that last year, we didn't have the personnel to run the offense the way LaFleur wanted to run the offense. We didn't have the tight ends, and we didn't have the right guard. And when we got a better run blocking right guard, you saw the change, right? The one thing about LDT was a very good run blocking guard. His pass protection was questionable, but you saw what happened. You saw what happened to the running game when we put him in there. I wanted to quickly just welcome Robert Cohn. He just subscribed, new subscriber, so we always like to do that. Shout out. Thanks for subbing to the channel. I think that when we talk about the run, we didn't establish the run because we didn't have the personnel. And a lot of people are thinking it's like, I agree. I understand the passion for another piece of candy, like another great wide receiver on the team. But understand the biggest change to a new wide receiver would have meant nothing if these new tight ends and Lake Tomlinson, if these guys don't make a difference, then a new wide receiver means nothing. The only reason the new wide receiver means anything is because we have two tight ends now who supposedly can block also, and because we have a more reliable right guard, and Becton's coming back, hopefully. I mean, these are all the reasons why it even matters to have a wide receiver.
Mm-hmm. Well, while we're talking Becton and the O-line, why don't you transition into your the title of the show today?
Yeah, we do. We should get to that.
I think it's perfect time. We're talking Becton. I figured it's perfect segue.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I want to say hello to Talking Jets with Tigo and Buffalo Jets fan. There's so many of you in here. Sean Bennett. I can't even name everybody, but I appreciate everybody being here. Wild Wave. We see you all. Appreciate you being here.
My neighbor Mark Riss just popped in. What's up, buddy?
Yeah, Mark is great, man. He's your neighbor.
We found out that when I mentioned Woodbridge, and then we were messaging. He friended me on Facebook that night. We were messaging, and like we know the same people, and hang out with like the same people, and he lives a half a mile down the road.
Friggledy, Owen, Mark. I mean, all great guys, man. You guys are the best. You make this all worth it. So and Adam Watu-K99 has been hanging out in the chat too. I didn't say his name out loud, so he's our Wednesday night co-host. One of the things that really pissed me off is that Conner Hughes came out, and he, by the way, he didn't just say something ignorant like a slight little thing that says like a reaction, like Becton didn't show up to voluntaries, I'm pissed, or there's no excuse. He literally said McGovern is the only other person that didn't come to voluntary workout, and he had an excuse. His wife just had a baby. And he literally said, Mekhi Becton has no excuses for not being at voluntary workouts. No excuses.
I'm very surprised he let that tweet ride and didn't delete it because he was getting slaughtered in it. I mean,
maybe the worst tweet I've ever read from him. And he's had some bad ones. He's had some good ones. That was maybe the worst thing I ever read, because to sit there, because and the question is he ignorant or is he a liar? Because if you sit there and you're putting the narrative that he had no reason to not be at voluntary workouts, okay, and he knew that he has a girlfriend that's 37 weeks pregnant, and that his voluntary workouts would be the same people he's training with right now because he's rehabbing from an injury and is on a special program, so wouldn't be doing anything different if he flew to New Jersey. And he doesn't want to leave his girlfriend. And I'll throw in some other facts too, some medical facts, just so people really understand that this young man is actually making a respectable decision, one that we should admire, because you should never put something like that over family. Voluntary workouts over family? No. So either, and I put it on Twitter. I said Conner Hughes is going to be a shitty father, and he's probably a horrible husband if he really believes there's no excuse to not go to voluntary workouts when you have a 37-year-old pregnant partner.
37 week.
37 weeks.
37 year would be. That would be a very long pregnancy. That would hurt.
Look, and I can go deeper into this. I can give you other facts too about why it makes sense that he'd want to stay with her.
Go. So you're on such a rant. Me and Joe might not have anything to say at the end of this. You're covering everything. Go. Run with it.
I'm going to give you facts, okay? And these are facts. I'm not getting political. I'm not getting racial. I'm going to give you facts. These are just facts, okay? African American women have 4 times more chance to have a miscarriage, to have complications in their pregnancy, or premature babies. Okay. Now, a lot of people might argue, yeah, that's because, they don't have the healthcare, but Becton can afford to provide that healthcare. No, you can't. You don't know what her life was like. Like, having good healthcare when you're pregnant doesn't overcome if the health wasn't there before. If she didn't have the best healthcare her whole life.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not a statistic of if you have money, then you have good healthcare and your pregnancy is. It's not just about that. And again, not trying to create a whole big thing, political. No, I'm giving facts.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of risk factors that
a
they
higher
have
risk
to take into their personal account.
Right. Yeah. They, from their personal world that they live in, from their perspective, from the reality, there's 4 times more to worry about.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that would even matter, even if it wasn't 4 times the amount. It's okay to make the decision of I want to be here with my partner who's 37 weeks pregnant.
Yeah.
I have zero issue with it.
Here's the
zero issue with it.
Here's the biggest problem is I think that, and it's another sign that, and everyone's talked about it before, our beat is very questionable and has been questionable for years. It's been questionable for years, right?
Yeah.
We talk about national media dumping on the Jets consistently, but our beat is pretty bad. And everybody can talk about the names of guys that we've had that have come here and said, crazy things about players and anonymous sources constantly that didn't turn out to be anything, stuff just being made up, reports and stuff like that. But I think that this is just a case where, people understand that right now, Mekhi Becton isn't necessarily the favorite name of a lot of Jets fans. So let me write this and get some clicks. One thing that a lot of people, and I saw some Jets fans even, kind of comment back or started saying things like, well, he should be gone. He should be cut. We should trade him immediately. That is voluntary workouts. It's voluntary.
But that's the casual fan who gets their information from the beat.
Yeah, look,
and that's where the toxicity forms, and that's where misinformation leads to idiocy.
Yeah, these are voluntary workouts. Okay, voluntary. That means he does not have to be there. Okay. Yes, he's with the mother of his child, and she is very pregnant, and so of course he's got to deal with that. But even outside of that, he's still rehabbing from that injury. He's still, getting it together. It's not like the dude is sitting at home eating chips all day. It's not like he's not doing anything to prepare himself for the season. We see videos constantly that he's getting himself, into good shape, and he's also rehabbing that knee. Him coming here for voluntary workouts would do nothing because he's still rehabbing.
In New Jersey,
if they were in New Jersey, stop with this stuff. They've got to stop constantly trying to dump on this guy for no reason, starting stuff with him for no reason, because this also leads to a bigger thing, which is a reason why the New York Jets have been a place where people do not want to come and play. It's because of stuff like this. It's because of stuff like this, where you're constantly going to be messed with by the fan base and the beat, even if you just doing what you got to do to get ready, for your job, and people don't want to deal with that. So I thought that it was a bit ridiculous. I thought it was very ridiculous, but it's just kind of typical of our beat to do stuff like this.
It's not like he's staying in his apartment in Morristown and he's 15 minutes away at a phone call. You're not going to want to be in New Jersey when she's in Texas pregnant at 37 weeks. By the time you get there, the baby could be out and then you missed it. For what? You're not doing anything life-changing at the facility this week. I have zero issue with it. And I think it's a shame that it got turned into this.
Yeah. And again, it's voluntary. These are not mandatory workouts. It's not like this is the first player that's even skipped a voluntary workout. Le'Veon Bell used to skip voluntary workouts. Why? Because he worked with his own trainers and he did his own thing. The same way Mekhi Becton is doing. He's working with his own personal trainers. This is nothing new. This happens across the NFL. Okay? Across the NFL, OBJ's done it. All these other guys that are big in league, they work with their own trainers. Why? Because those guys know their body the best. They can get them prepared for the season the best so that you can get the best production out of them. So this is not something new. I do not understand, again, why our beat often makes stories out of nothing, makes drama out of nothing. Now, if he starts missing mandatory stuff and starts doing whatever he wants to do, that's when you can say something. But other than that, it's a voluntary workout. Voluntary. He doesn't have to be there. It's voluntary.
Agree.
It's So I mean, to me, it pissed me off more. I mean, it's just so it's so ignorant. I mean, I just so tired of it. It's like this guy is so desperate. And to me, it's just a lot. Like you're telling me with the draft coming up, with the Debo situation, you can't come up with a better story that you have to blast out Becton. Man, do your research, because then a day he looks even dumber the day later when JD comes out and says we have absolutely no issue with him not being here. It's voluntary.
Yep.
Yeah. He didn't even have to bring up. He didn't even have to bring up the pregnancy. He just said it's voluntary. And you know why he doesn't care? Because he knows this guy's got a nutritionist, nutritionalist. He's been working out. You see the videos. He's doing everything he's supposed to be doing. He looks great. Again, I love the shirts. I love the big buff shirts. I couldn't be happier. I like that he's paying attention. I like that his responses, because the response of somebody who really was lazy or didn't want to work hard and wanted to eat would have been to say, you don't know what you're talking about, blah, 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 be defensive, this, that. He says nothing and just wears a shirt that says big bust. That's the perfect response. So he's showing us while working out, you think I'm a big bust? Well, this is what I'm doing. And I'm aware that you're calling me a big bust. If that doesn't get you pumped up, I don't know what can get a fan pumped up.
Yeah. He's I'm telling you, Mekhi Becton, and if you listen to Duke Mayweather talked about it, that he is all of these things that are being said. And a lot of players we've seen this before. They use this as fuel. They utilize this to get better. Oh, people talk negatively about me. People saying I'm a bust. People saying I'm trash. People saying I'm not going to get the job done. And they take all of that fuel and all of that anger and pour it into out there on the field. Somebody's going to pay this year for all of the nonsense that he's going through right now with the fan base and the media. There are going to be a lot of guys getting manhandled, getting thrown around, getting pancaked, and getting dominated because of what's going on right now. I'm telling you, he's putting all of that into the workouts to come out and get better. I can't wait to see Mekhi out there this year. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. And you know what's funny? All the pictures that Becton has posted of the baby shower, of her posing, through her monthly photo shoots that she's been doing, he shares all that. And I just looked it up, and Conner Hughes follows Mekhi Becton. So she's pregnant. That they're expecting. You have to be aware of this. So I don't know. It's a really, really. I am not a Conner hater. Like, I'm one of the few people that like I like the young energy that he brings to the Jet beat, because some of them are older, and Costello and Samini are older guys. So Manish was there, who was a young guy, but he was a bag of garbage. So following Douglas's kids to a game in Philly or something, whatever that story was. But great, it got rid of him. So him being a creep actually benefited us. But I think I like Connor's stuff 80% of the time. 20% of the time, it's head scratching, strange shit like this. Like, is your boss asking you to be combative or idiotic, or like, why can't you just be credible? And I think it's this whole. I'm 43, so I'm going to talk like an old man. Forgive me for those that are young out there listening. I think it's this new generation of, if you just get attention any way you can on social media. And I'm old school, so I'm going to quote the Wedding Crashers. If you draw attention to yourself, draw it in a positive way. like you don't bring negative attention to yours. And I just think this young generation is, any attention is good attention.
Yeah. I just think that our beat has the history of doing this, to be completely honest. We talked about Manish used to do it all the time. And I think that fuels a lot of, there's this, and I'm not trying to disrespect the fan base, but we all know there's a segment of Jets fans that enjoy being miserable. They actually enjoy the team being bad. They really, really do. They would rather the team be bad than actually be good. And even when the team's good, they pray for the downfall of the team. I'm pretty sure we all know Jets fans like that are just waiting for the sky to fall.
They can't wait. Here we go again. They can't wait to say, here we go again.
Yeah, I don't want to I'm just being honest. I've been a fan my whole life, so I've seen it. There are people that even when the clouds are away and the sun is shining, they're talking about it getting ready to rain and thunderstorms are coming and all that stuff, right? Yeah. And I think that when you're tweeting about certain things or you say certain things, you look to stir up and rile up that stuff. So that's what I just think our beat does. And maybe that's what Conner was trying to do, was just go back to that old adage. But I just think that it was a bit ridiculous. And, I think Conner is a good guy, I definitely, read his stuff. He's a very good writer and he does a great job. But I just think he was off base with this one. So, but again, Mekhi,
it's that 20% of head scratching stuff that you're just confused by. There's no rhyme or reason to it whatsoever.
I mean,
like I said, I think Mekhi comes back this year and he's going to be. I'm telling you, he's going to be dominant.
Conner Hughes.
You can already see the article.
Conner Hughes just got married this year, so.
He did.
Let's pay attention to when.
Does he miss a game because his kid's about to be born?
Let's see when he says, "Guys, we're not doing the show, and I'll be away for 2 weeks, and because of the baby and everything." And then everybody's gonna blast him on Twitter and say, "Is your job voluntary? Are you not dedicated to your work? Why are you taking off from work because your wife's pregnant and having a baby? What? That's not dedication." I mean, it's going to happen.
Let me do a prediction. Now, I hope this doesn't happen. But if Becton suffers an injury at any point this year, Conner will write an article saying it's because he wasn't in voluntary workouts in April. He will tie it back to him being right over this, just to take a dig at everybody who went at him. Well, if he was with the team in April, this wouldn't have happened.
I was hoping.
Please, I see in the chat, do not mention Joe Beningo. He is like the worst human being and the worst Jet fan of all time. I am not a Joe Beningo guy at all, man. He was the worst to listen to. I stopped listening to the Fan because of Joe Beningo like 8 years ago. I have not put the Fan on once except for a Yankee broadcast. It's the only time I'll put it on.
Wow. Yeah.
I hate Beningo. I hate him.
Dark Soldier says he was hoping Salah and JD were going to stick up for him. I think that JD, you're never going to see him address one of these beat writers. You're just not going to see him do it like in that way.
He'll do it indirectly like he did. He'll just say, we have no issue with it. We're in communication with them. We know everything that's going on and we're fine with it. Because that was Joe D's way of addressing it. Because he's not going to say, fuck you, Conner. He's going to be like,
that helps Conner.
He's not going to come out. He's not that type of guy. I'm that type of guy, but he's not. And what he'll do is he will, hey, we have no issue with it. He'll address it indirectly, make a point, and brush you under the carpet in an eloquent manner, not the Nick Shine bull in the China shop route that I would go.
Yeah, and and that's partly because he's the Jets general manager. So there's just a level that he has to maintain. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. But like you said, Nick. And that's I think he answered the question perfectly, and that shuts down a lot of stuff because how can you, a beat writer, with all due respect to Conner, he's a great writer, how can you have a problem with something that we, the New York Jets, me, the general manager, Joe Douglas, doesn't have a problem with? And he made sure that there was emphasis on it's voluntary. We don't have a problem with him missing voluntary workouts. It's voluntary. That's fine.
Yeah.
It is what it is. We don't have a problem with it, so nobody else should have a problem with it. And they let everybody know, hey, we're on top of everything that's going on with him. We know everything. We're in constant communication. We know what's up with him. That's it.
And when there has been an issue with Becton, Salah said it last year that the report came out that they said he taps out of games and practices too much. They wish that he would commit more. They did call him out last year when they had an issue with him.
They've called out other players. They called out. That's how we figured out what was going on with me.
They're not blowing smoke up our ass. They're being legit and they're being honest.
They're very straightforward. If they have an issue with a player, if there's something going on that is some rumors or something going out there, they feel like they must address that they do. When Denzel Mims was not playing, the guys came out and said, basically, listen, he don't know the damn playbook. He don't know it. Okay. He can't run every route. Sulla literally said he's not going to get on the field until he understands how to run every route on the field. That's
and
it.
now you have to accept that call out as a professional. Are you going to answer the call? Or are you going to go into your shell and cry? Yeah. And we're going to see this year in training camp. We'll know 2 days in that those will be the stories. Where are Becton and Fant playing? How does Carl Lawson look? And is Denzel Mims stepping up? Those will be the stories for returning players. The new free agents and the rookies will be different stories. But the returning guys, those are going to be the spotlights.
Yeah, we'll see. Because Mims, I'm telling you, I like Denzel Mims a lot. I've been a champion for him, but I tell you what, there's a big question marks around him going into next season.
He's got a lot
huge
of
question mark going into next season.
I'm full on record. I jumped out of my seat. I wanted Mims in 2, and when we traded down, I thought we lost him. Mm-hmm. And when we still got him after trading back in that round 2, I think we went to 57 from like 38. I thought we were going to lose him, and we ended up with him. So I think it's I'm not one of those guys that wants to say like just because I was right, but he's a guy that I wanted since I fell in love with his tape at Baylor. I absolutely his catching the ball at the high point, contested catches. I absolutely fell in love with him. I thought that is an aspect that we need. Now he had that one play last year against Carolina where Wilson threw that nice pass down the sideline later in the game to him, and that was it. Like you thought that'd been all right. Here we go, a little momentum going, and then like completely falls off the face of the earth. So, I mean, this is absolutely a make or break year. It's year 2 in a system. It's year 2 with the quarterback. It's year 2. It's sink or swim time, man. Because if not, we'll cut ties with you and find someone else who will step in and contribute.
Yeah. I mean, I look at it like there's a lot of Jets fans that have called for us to draft a wide receiver in this upcoming draft. And if we do that, I mean, there's some depth spots that he can go to, but I'm just wondering where exactly, he's going to be. Because I know that there's a lot of excuses that people make for him, talking about he didn't have a full, off season, no preseason, but he wasn't the only guy that had that going on. Elijah Moore had a quad injury. Elijah Moore and Elijah Vera Tucker had injuries and didn't play, in the preseason. Those are 2 rookies coming into a brand new scheme, a brand new league, playing with brand new players and outshine Denzel Mims. I mean, particularly Elijah Moore, because he's another wide receiver, completely outshine Denzel Mims. There were times during the season where our wide receiver core was completely decimated. I'm talking about no Keelan Cole, no Corey Davis, no Elijah Moore. He still couldn't get on the field. You had guys like DJ Montgomery and Tariq Black get on the field before Denzel Mims have more catches and more targets than Denzel Mims in a game. Those guys are coming off the street. That's insane to me.
That was insane. A message. That was a message.
I consider myself
when they were in there, that was a message.
I consider myself a very good Jet fan with knowing our roster, knowing our practice squad. That last game against Buffalo, Black caught the pass. I'm like, where the fuck did this guy come from?
Dude.
And Mims isn't playing?
That says something. Oh. That says something. And the guy was on the roster the entire year. So, again, I don't know if you were on that roster the entire year and you still don't know the playbook. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man.
Food poisoning. I don't know what to tell you. And he had COVID, so I know his body was going through some shit. But I put it. Let me say this: I don't think Salah and Mims, or Salah and JD, are going to run it back unsuccessfully. You're still on the roster. You can come to the training camp. I'm telling you, 2-3 days in, if it don't look good, cut ties, get somebody else in there early enough in training camp. I don't see those being two men who will ride a dead horse. They will say that's it. He doesn't fit what we're doing. We got to move on.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it, especially again if we take a wide receiver in this draft, because there's a lot of, as much as I've talked about, taking edge twice, I'm also looking at guys like Drake London at 10. His name has been rumored to the Jets consistently, right? You had the Jets wide receiver coach at his pro day, excuse me.
Yeah,
that's huge, And to be completely transparent, yes, I'm an SC guy. Fight on. I will put that out there. I'm not a homer. Okay. I'm just being honest. All right. I do have Trojan paraphernalia around here. Okay. Maybe or maybe not. I have a Drake.
Me too. That's just because I'm a single guy.
Yeah. I don't know if I have a Drake London jersey. I don't know. And neither do you. You know what I'm saying? So we don't need to discuss that. But what I am saying is that he has been linked to the New York Jets consistently. So, if we get a guy like that, I don't know where, where Mims ends up. I really don't. I think he's athletic. I think he has the ability to be successful in this league, but it's something that's not catching on with this staff, and it's something that's not catching on with this offense.
Yeah. So J. Cole, aka Mr. Mozzarella 23. Yeah, we know it's you. I knew it was you as soon as I saw you, man.
The typing gives it away.
We'll reward him with at least asking a legitimate question. Long Beach Joe, in a trade back, would you take Chris Olave? Or would you take him at 10? Let's start. Would you take him at 10?
Not over Drake London, no. Not over Drake London, no. And I think he's a great. Yeah, I think he's a great. I think he's a very good wide receiver. But again, it would depend how the board would fall. To me, not a Drake London. Even if we trade back, no, I'm not taking him over Drake London. And even if the Jets don't take a wide receiver into the second round, I like a guy like Jahan Dotson a lot. I like that guy a lot out of Penn State. I think he can come here and do some things. So, I think Chris is a great wide receiver, but I can't see us taking him, because I think he's
not unless we trade out of 10. Agreed.
Yeah, but
he's not a pick at 10, and he's not making it to 35.
Yeah,
I think Olave has New England Patriot written all over him at that 21, 22, wherever they're picking there. He's wide receiver 4 for me. I got my rankings are Williams, Wilson, London, Olave, and then Burks. So I can't see us going Olave. I mean, maybe if we trade with the Saints and 19, and then the top 3 are gone, possibly. But no, not at 10, and he's not going to make it to 35. So I don't see Olave being a Jet unless some crazy draft day trades go on.
Yeah.
God bless you, sir.
No, I'm actually coughing still coughing. But yeah, I mean, I think that, if we ended up trading back and that was the wide receiver on the board with the trade back, but I just feel like if we traded that at 10 and traded back, it wouldn't be to grab a wide receiver. Like, unless we drop back like 2 spots and thought we'd still get our same guy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we would drop back to, if we drop back to 18, 19, I could be wrong, but I just think that I would be thinking, oh, he's thinking linebacker. He's thinking Lloyd or Dean, or he's thinking Daxton Hill. Like I would just think that he's going a different way. Like he's thinking something different. I think that if he really wants wide receiver first round, he probably has a guy in his mind that's fine at 10 and would only trade back if it was a couple of spots and he still believed he was going to get his guy.
Mm-hmm.
I would absolutely hate for Jameson Williams to become a Patriot. I am going on record. Like that is my biggest fear in the draft. He's the guy I want for us. Like, I want him. I don't want to have to play against him. I want him to be a Jet. Like, I don't care if he's missing September. Some people say he might not even miss September. I want Jameson Williams as a Jet. I want him at 10. Like, he is my number 1 guy at 10. And if he was healthy, he would be a consideration at 4 because I think his impact could be huge to this offense.
Well, to me,
he's an elite route runner. He's always open because his route running is so good, and he's got elite speed.
To me, he's the guy that is at the level of the guys last year. When you talk about Chase and Waddle and and Devontae, this is, I don't want to say he's definitely, and I'm going to say he's the Chase of this year, but I think of healthy before the injury, I thought as highly as him as any of those guys last year. And he's the only one in this draft that I think is at that level. I love Drake London too, but I wouldn't put him at the level of those guys. I think Drake London is more like would be great at 10 or 12 or, like if we traded down a little, like Drake London would be great there. But like as far as like worthy of a number 4 possibly, like a guy that's just at that level, like Jameson Williams to me is the guy at that level. Like he's the guy that's
I love him. You know how much I love him. Like I want him at 10. I don't even care about the ACL. Draft him.
Oh, well, see, then that's the thing for me is the ACL. And look, I think he's phenomenal. I think he's phenomenal. Clearly one of the best wide receivers in this class, if not the best, if it had not been for the injury, right? But that ACL injury just starts to bring up question marks for me because again, a lot of his game is predicated on speed. He's so agile and all these things. You come back, who knows if he comes back from that ACL injury, the same guy that he was before. We don't know that. And we've seen that ACL injury cut into a lot of players' careers and cause issues down the stretch, especially, with a guy that his game is predicated on speed. So
But
I
we've
don't
also seen Becton miss the first
know.
couple weeks of his rookie year and come in and have a huge impact as well.
Yeah, he missed it. Yeah, but it wasn't an ACL injury. He didn't tear his ACL.
OBJ. I'm sorry, OBJ. Did I say Becton?
I think you said Becton.
I'm sorry. OBJ missed the first couple games of his rookie season and came in and had a huge impact on the league right away.
Yeah, but again, you have to also think about when he's going to come back as well, because there's a lot of talk that he probably won't be back. Some people are saying now until November. So then you'd have to wait to see exactly what he comes back as. There still may be time where he's got to get himself acclimated. There's just a lot of question marks with him. I wish it wasn't. I wish it wasn't, because if it wasn't,
it would be a no-brainer.
I would be.
He wouldn't make 10. He wouldn't make 10
if
there was no injury.
We'd be talking about him at 4, to be completely honest. That's probably where we'd be talking about him at. But I just, man, that ACL and the question marks that's around that, with all of the necessity that we have to have this pick hit, it has to be there. It has to be a guy that produces. I don't know if I'd want to attempt that. I really don't. And for a lot of people that just say, oh, well, ACLs are no big deal, that is not true. There's a lot of guys that tear their ACLs and they come back and they're able to play, but never at the same level that they were before. Never. So I just don't know. And at this point, with those big questions, I don't know if we should take him there, especially with all the other issues that we have. Now, if we trade back, and you guys were talking about this earlier, now I'm going to let you guys get this, but I could also see us start to target O-line. There's been also a lot of talk about Tyler Linderbaum and him sliding a little bit. If we trade back far enough, like you said, down into that 19, like you talked about earlier, I could maybe see Tyler Linderbaum start to come up as a name. I remember earlier on in the process, there was a lot of talk about him going, at 9, 10, something like that. And ever since then, there's been a lot of talk about him sliding down. You add Tyler Linderbaum to this offensive line, it's lights out. It's lights out. Nobody's ever going to touch Zach again. He won't ever have a PCL injury again running for his life. We won't have to worry about that. So that could be an option too.
So we trade out of 4, just for argument, discussion's sake. We trade out of 4. Say Thibodeaux and Hutch are gone. We trade out of 4. Somebody comes up. Say the Saints come up. So now we're at 10, 16, and 19. Give me Jermaine Johnson. Give me Linderbaum. And Garrett Wilson then. We come out with those 3. Or instead of Wilson, get me Nakobe Dean. Come out with Jermaine Johnson, Nakobe Dean, and Tyler Linderbaum. If you don't trade down again and acquire more picks, and now in the second round, you could take Dotson, you could take Seen, the safety from Georgia, if he's there. You can really, really make this team good quickly.
Yep. And then you can take that capital that you got, because I'm pretty sure we'd get, a little bit more. And we still got, 2 second-round picks. We have other capital that can be utilized as well to continue to make this team better. So,
if we trade 16 and 19 with the Saints, we'd have 5 of the top 38. We're basically picking every 7 picks.
Yeah. It's insane. So, there's a lot of things that can go.
New names in the chat: Kelly Wilson, K Twist. Welcome. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you sub to the channel. Appreciate it. And they had some good comments too. So they seem to like Williams as well. K Twist made a good point here. He's saying JD is great with trades. Well, we know that. We're all on that for sure. And you thinking, what makes me think they still believe that there's a chance Mims will take off is not so much that they didn't trade him, because, obviously they're not going to cut him, because why would you? It doesn't cost us anything. We invested a second-round pick in him, and he's still a phenomenal athlete. And I don't think anybody's going to offer us anything that's going to be worth it, rather than just see what he does in camp. But I like that they still refer to him as Mimsy. They still refer to him like in an affectionate way.
Yeah.
It's a good sign. It means that they still believe in him. And Salah said it like 20 different times. 3rd year. Sometimes it takes to the 3rd year. It takes 3 years. It takes 3 years. A million times. Now I'll go back. I say it all the time. I don't think we should act as if he's going to be a top-notch or great contribution to the team at receiver. We shouldn't move forward with that thinking. But man, we could certainly hope he comes into the camp and just balls out, right? And just like goes crazy and plays ball. And then whatever we do at wide receiver in the draft or a trade, then you get Mims on top of it. That just makes us a powerhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know what Mims is at this point? He is the developmental player. Like he's someone that you hope that can develop and find a role, but your expectations are very low.
Yeah.
There's hope, but reality, you're not too high.
Yeah. And it's crazy to even be talking about that because the first year was so unbelievable from him. I mean, I'm sure everybody watched the games and saw Sam throw him footballs, and it was like he's not going to catch this, and he would come up with it somehow. I mean, his catching radius was insane, and that was in an Adam Gase offense. It was crazy. That's why we were so hyped going into year 2, because it was like it was crazy. But at this point, I'm looking at it like whatever he can give us, however he can come out and put things together. I'm not expecting big things from him, but I'm really hoping, like you said as well, Nick, that he can do something. That's what I'm hoping at this point, because there's no other way to go with it. Because last year he was just a ghost. It was like he wasn't even on the roster, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
And so
I'm such a Joe Douglas fan. I'm such a fan of Joe Douglas that I don't want to give the Joe Douglas haters more ammunition. Like I want them to be right on Mims. Like I want to stick it to the Joe Douglas haters and be like, no, you have no idea what you're talking about.
Well,
so
Douglas is better than you.
I am Jim Ijet, I think, or I am Jim Ijet.
Jimmy Jet.
I am Jimmy Jet. Oh, I am Jimmy Jet. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the channel. Haven't seen you before. Why won't Jet fans listen? JD and Salah have said repeatedly that it starts in the trenches. If JD has his choice of every OL, he is going to take OL. Fant is aging, and Becton has a lot to prove. Now, look, I hear that message loud and clear. They said it right at the last press conference they had. They said it's all in the trenches. I just want to point out, taking Thibodeaux or an edge at number 4 is the trenches.
Absolutely.
And if you took an old, there's going to be some offensive linemen let's say you took an offensive lineman in the 2nd round or the 3rd round. That's not going against what they said in as far as going, that wouldn't be opposing their philosophy.
No,
plenty of teams build great talent in the trenches, but not in the 1st round. We see in every mock draft, there's plenty of very talented offensive linemen that slip to the 2nd and 3rd round. So we don't know that he's not going to take an offensive lineman at that point. But also, if he takes Thibodeaux, he's addressing the trenches. In the 2nd, 3rd round, if he takes defensive tackle, he's addressing the trenches. Remember, we had the 32nd ranked defense last year. Maybe he's talking about the other side. Laken Tomlinson was addressing the trenches. That doesn't mean that every pick and every move we make is going to be geared towards the trenches. So it doesn't mean we're not going to pick any other position. What do you think?
Yeah, that's my thing as well. A lot of people act like solid linemen don't slip to the 2nd round. Last year, does anybody remember how shocked we were that the Jets didn't take Creed Humphrey? Does anybody remember that? Because I do. I do. I remember when Elijah Moore's name was called, because I was doing a live draft show, the same that I'm going to do this year on my channel as well. I remember everybody was like, oh, wow, there's still guys like, I think it was Tevin Johnson, I think was his name. That was on the board as well, which was a good tackle prospect. Creed Humphrey was still there, and everybody was just kind of shocked, like, whoa, these guys are in the 2nd round. So there's still, if you want to continue to address the O-line or continue to backfill and stuff like that for depth, we still have mid-rounds to do that. But you don't have to draft the O-lineman, every single year high. And like you said as well, there's a other side of the trenches too. It's called, the defensive line. It's called edge. Getting edge pressure is huge, and we need to do that. Everyone's just really focused, and especially when you look at what we did this offseason, bringing in Lakeland Tomlinson allowed them more flexibility, so you don't have to, get a guard in this upcoming year. You don't have to do that because you got a Pro Bowl guy in the building. So it's not like you have to go get a guy offensive line, because this line has been improved a bit, right? And that was the great move that he made in free agency. But when you look at us defensively, we don't have an edge rusher. We don't have that. Yeah. If you watched all last year, we suffered from that. We've been suffering from lack of edge pressure since John Abraham. I don't know how long. That was years ago. We have to fix that issue, and I think that
you're not
looking for that.
You're not
and
including
that's addressing the trenches.
You're not counting Calvin Pace as an elite edge rusher?
Well, look, Calvin Pace came in here and did his thing. I'm respect to him, but
he was a poor man's Mo Lewis. He wasn't a speed rusher. He was like a run stuffing edge.
Yeah, we haven't had a guy because there's a lot of people who bring up Aaron Mabin as well. That 1 year we had with him, but it's like we haven't had a guy. So addressing the trenches, addressing our edge, getting pressure is huge. That is literally how this defense is predicated. San Francisco. Nobody can really can name anybody in their secondary. They don't have an all-star secondary, but I tell you what, you know who Warner is and you know who Bosa is, and the host of other guys they send at quarterbacks, because that's how that defense works. We've got to fix that so our defense will get better here.
It's funny that you said that, because what I have pulled up right now, I used to post on Twitter for the entire offseason. It's the 49ers first-round picks for like the last decade. It started, we'll go back to 2010. Number 11, tackle, Anthony Davis. 17, guard, Ayupade. The following year, number 7, Aldon Smith at edge. Number 30 was a wide receiver. 18 was a safety. 30 was a safety. 17, D-end, Armstead. 2016, 7 overall, D-end, Buckner. 2017, number 3 overall, tackle, Solomon Thomas. 2018, offensive tackle, Mike McGlinchey. 2019, Bosa, edge. The following year, Javon Kinlaw, D tackle, Ayuk in the 25. Whenever they're top 10, it was D lineman or O lineman. Even the top 14, it's D lineman repeatedly for over a decade. So you look at where Salah comes from. You look at where Joe Douglas comes from, the school of Ozzie Newsome, where you take the best available player, you take the best guy in the trenches. Because if you're stout up front, you can be good everywhere else. Now, listen, I know Ed Reed is an all-world player. He's probably one of the, if not the greatest safety of all time. Ed Reed may have not been Ed Reed without that front 7. Troy Polamalu may have not been Troy Polamalu without that front 7. Ronnie Lott, elite front 7. You don't take a safety to make your defense great. A safety can be great when the front is great, because you could take chances more. You know they're getting there. You can jump routes. Now, I'm not shitting on Ed Reed, Polamalu, or Ronnie Lott, but if you're talking about the 3 best safeties of all time, they've all had elite front 7s. They weren't doing it on the New York Jets or Detroit Lions. They were doing it on all-time defensive greats. So you don't take a safety. I don't care how good Hamilton is. If there's no pass rush, Hamilton's useless, because he's not fast enough to cover sideline to sideline in the NFL, because passes aren't floating like they are when you're playing the weak-ass Notre Dame schedule.
That was a great point, Nick. That is literally my argument for people that constantly try to talk to me about taking Hamilton at 5. We had that issue here when Jamal was here. Does anybody not remember that? Jamal, as much as I couldn't wait to get rid of him, and people literally got all over me about it, he was an all-pro, Pro Bowl safety, right? He was one of the best safeties in the league. Some people said he was the best safety in the league. And
didn't move the wind needle.
Yeah, didn't move
the wind needle this much over a season.
We were getting torched every single year, getting torched. The balls were thrown all over us. People were running all over us because safeties don't matter that much. You need edge rush. You need players at impact positions. You just brought up the Ravens, Ed Reed. Ed Reed's a phenomenal football player, but people also forget the Ravens front was ridiculous. Peter Boware, you had Jamie Sharper, you had McAllister, one of the better corners. If you don't have impact positions locked up, the non-impact positions aren't going to shine like that. And so I think what the New York Jets are going to do is lock up a lot of these impact positions, and edge, particularly in this league, is huge. You must have that, or you're going to be dead in the water.
100%. 100%.
Yep. So, Dark Soldier wanted to ask you this, Long Beach, if you think whatever wide receiver we end up drafting at 10, will the success of that pick do you think that will make or break our season?
First off, salute to Dark Soldier, and also salute to everybody watching. I really respect y'all, and I really, really like your audience as well, Jeremy. I know there's a lot of people also here that watch me too, so just salutes and respect to everybody, in case I didn't say that. But I don't think it makes or breaks our season because I don't think you can expect a rookie to come in and be like Jerry Rice, right? Off the bat, like a Hall of Famer. But I do think it'll add. I think what'll make or break our season is the progression of Zach Wilson. That's what's going to make or break our season, to be completely honest with you. If he comes back next year and he sucks, we're going to suck. If he sucks, we're going to suck. If he's bad, we're going to be real bad. Let me tell you, I don't give a damn what anything else is going to go on. If he's really bad, we're going to be really bad. So I think
three things, right? It's Zach, O-line,
yeah,
D-line.
Yeah.
Those are the three things that are going to make or break our season. Those three things are successful, will improve.
And
if
I
there's
think
question marks or injuries at any of those spots that are,
it's going to be a big problem. So I think that
hurtful. Yeah, it's going to be damaging.
You would hope that our if we do take a wide receiver, that he's going to come in, contribute, and definitely help. But I don't think it's going to make or break our season because, again, we have other guys here too. Elijah Moore, we're hoping to see him progress. Corey Davis is coming back. I know some Jets fans, I'm not going to say a lot, but some Jets fans have given up on him. I have not. I think that he's going to be able to kind of rebound from this injury, come back and catch footballs and not drop them, right? And catch some touchdowns. And so we have other guys that we can lean on as well because free agency, Joe Douglas did so well in free agency this year and added so many guys at key spots, particularly the tight end position. Okay, you got CJ, you got Tyler Conklin as well. That's going to help us, definitely continue to grow and produce offensively as well. So there's some other things going on. So even if the guy that we take if we do take a wide receiver this year and he isn't like 1,000-yard wide receiver, we're not going to die. We'll be okay. As long as Zach Wilson is better and the surrounding guys kind of step up, like as Nick said as well, that offensive line step up, Mekhi Becton is out there and everything's going all right. We'll be okay. We'll be okay.
Agree. And Davis and Moore never played together last year when they were both peaking. When Moore was playing in the beginning, he hadn't peaked yet. And then when Moore started blowing up, Davis was down. And then they were both out at the end of the season. So we didn't see Moore and Davis at their best together. Yeah. Davis had some good games early. Moore was feeling himself out. And then Davis goes down, and then Moore explodes with all the backups. And then when Zach comes back in, he's having these 8, 9, 10 catch games. And then Moore goes down. And then they weren't together. So our lack of depth hurt. Crowder was injured the majority of the year. He kept trying to come back, and it seems like he'd come back for a quarter and go back out for 4 games. But having everyone together, having a good camp, having everyone in healthy, everyone coming together in the second year of the system, the offensive line, I think this offense, which would be huge for us, will be in the 15 to 20 range in terms of yardage because of the fact that we're run first, and we're probably going to throw for about 33 to 3,600, I would say. I don't think we're going to be a 4,000-yard passing team, but we're going to be a run-first team. So when you're a run-first team, like the 49ers are never leading the league in yards because they're more worried about leading the league in time of possession. And I think that's where you're going to see us. You're going to see us better third down conversion rates. You're going to see us staying and prolonging drives. You're not going to see as many 3-and-outs. You're not going to see a lot of zeros on the board at halftime like we did this past year. I think we evolve as a team. I don't think we get into the upper echelon of offenses maybe until year 3 of Zach. That's when I think we really, really take off. Maybe the end of this year. Who knows? We land Debo. If Joe Douglas lands Debo, and we got Debo, Davis, and Moore, I mean, you could look at us evolve into more of a passing attack. Why not? You got the weapons to do it now. You don't have to mask anything. You throw the kid in the deep end and see if Wilson can sink or swim.
Yeah. And and again, going even back to Dark's question, I think another player that a lot of people don't talk about that could be instrumental in the growth of the New York Jets offense is Michael Carter. A lot of people do not, for whatever reason, they're not talking about him at all anymore. And there was a point last season where he was literally our biggest offensive playmaker. He was coming out the backfield. Yeah, he was coming out the backfield catching the football.
He was a Jets version.
We were handing the ball off to him, and he was running for a ton of. You go back and look at that Bengals game. He had a huge impact on that football game. He went off in that game. And I think that with the improved offensive line that we have here, everybody, and we talked about it, Zach Wilson, he's not going to be running for his life anymore like he was last year because the offensive line was just letting up pressure. And that's how he jacked up his PCL against New England. but it's also going to open doors for Michael Carter, because there was often times where he was running away from guys that was in the backfield where Connor McGovern and Greg Van Rotten, okay, everybody hear me? Greg Rotten, okay, his name is Roten, but we call him Rotten here. I'm
the hat to you, brother.
You know, yeah, when in Rome, we do what the Romans do, okay? So Greg Van Rotten, so when these guys were just letting guys into the backfield, he was running away from guys trying to get back to the line of scrimmage and get some yards. So I think that the improved offensive line play will also benefit him as well, which makes us even more deadly, because I'm telling you, that kid being able to get that production out of that late of a mid-round pick, he's just shifty. He's ridiculous. He can really ascend in this league and be one of the better backs in this league, to be completely honest.
So Clutch is asking when I'm going to do the mock draft. So I'm going to do a mock draft with as many different fans as possible. Clutch is a Kansas City Chief fan, and you're right, we're running out of time. I don't know if you're going to be around tomorrow night. I have to run it by my wife, but I think that I'll find time to slip it in. I think I'm going to just jump on Clutch, and I'll put the stream in the chat. I'm going to use Twitter to get in touch with Grandizer and Aiden if he's not still here. See if he'll come on. See if Grandizer will come on, so we can get a Miami fan, a Jaguar fan. I'm going to call my friend who's a Cowboy fan. I'm going to get as many different guys in here to represent teams, and we're going to select them. We're going to select a draft where we get to control all those teams, as many as possible. And I think I'm just going to do it tomorrow. So, Clutch, if you're around, just jump in and I'll get you in the stream if you want to represent Kansas City. That would be very cool. Because I think I'm running out of time. I'm not going to have any time this week before the draft. So I think tomorrow's the last opportunity to get it done.
I'll represent the Patriots, and I'll draft a quarterback since Mac Jones is drafted.
Tough luck.
I'm way behind. Kenny Pickett. Yeah, what time are you looking at?
I don't even know yet. I'm gonna just figure it out, but I'll text you.
Figure out. You're waiting to be told when you can do it. Don't lie. You already mentioned asking the wife permission. We know what's up.
We got a busy day because we got we have
Home Depot, Walmart, the old school Will Ferrell. I don't know if we'll have enough time.
We have we found an abandoned German Shepherd puppy. He's beautiful. And
Really?
We've had him for a week. We got somebody interested in them, but if not, there's about 45-minute drive from here. There's a specific German Shepherd rescue where it's a lady, and she right now has another puppy, and she says, they never get put down. They stay with me until they get adopted. And if it's a puppy, I'll get him a nice home within 2 weeks. So we just, we can't throw him in the street. Like, he was left in the dog park, so we had to take him home. There's no way we were leaving him there. He's great. We'd love to have him, but we can't have two. And he's going to be like 130 pounds. So anyway, we're going to be dropping him off tomorrow while we're in Auburn. We're going to hit some good breweries. And then when I get back, we're going to I'm gonna get that in. My wife will be satisfied. I spent a bunch of time with her, and then I'll be able to do that draft. So, Clutch, make sure you're there.
You got to add Adam's most recent comment. It says, Jocelyn, what time is Jeremy allowed to draft? Jocelyn, what time can we hang out with Jeremy?
I'll find it. I'm so far behind. That's the problem. It's like that's why we got to get my brother settled back. He's in Italy now. He moved. He hasn't been available, but he's going to be a guy that's just going to hang around and read out the chats, so I don't have to worry about it anymore. He's just going to look for the good questions and say hello to everybody and make sure that I don't have to think about it when we do these shows.
Oh, dude, give me your StreamYard login.
I think I can
add it, and I can do it. I can make comments pop up here too, because that's what I do on the IOW show.
Okay,
I log into your StreamYard. I can have control to the comments and add.
Well, I can make you a team member. I just got to figure out how to do it.
Okay.
I got to. I can just do that. So he's saying, Jeremy, what time? Figure about 10 p.m. ish or 9 p.m. ish Eastern, but because I'm thinking 6 p.m. ish California time, so I can finish in time to watch a movie with my wife for Saturday night. So.
Trying to figure out with you on the West Coast, it's like my wall behind the computer here. It looks like the usual suspects with all the strings going around and all the clues of trying to put together. Okay, so if he says this time over here, it's
yeah, exactly.
Is that your time or my time? 10 p.m. Like
the frustrating thing is just getting people available at the same time. Like I got tons of Niners fans out here, like and some of them are even YouTube content providers. I just need to get the time right. But I'm gonna just send it. I'm gonna send it an invite to all of them and say first one to respond gets to do the Niners. That's it. Well, thank you, Jets Mess. I appreciate you doing that every so often. Everybody, make sure you pay attention to those important contributions from Jets Mess. If you haven't hit the like button,
go ahead.
Okay. Oh, he's on the West Coast too. So great. You can go out afterwards, so I'm not ruining your night. Anyway,
can we
yeah.
Am I the only one who every time Bleacher Report sends something to his phone, you jump like a lunatic because you think it's the Debo to the Jets alert?
Well, there are so many cruel people. Like on Twitter, the Jets Lounge names their lounge shows now Debo a Jet.
Yeah, so I saw that.
Right? So I'm like, I see that, and then I'm like running to Ian Rappaport's page, and I'm like trying to see if something had happened. It's like ridiculous.
And it's ridiculous because I listened to a little bit of it today, and it was 49ers fans yelling at Jets fans about how we suck and we have 6 Super Bowls. And then one of the Jets fans is like, listen, a-hole, you only have 5. You don't even know how many your team has. like the talk, it was insane. It was drunk people, but they were sober, but yelling at each other like drunk idiots at 1:00 in the afternoon about like how each other teams suck. And I was like, yeah, I'm too old for this. I'm out.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the whole deal with Debo, to be completely honest, I think that he's going to be a draft day trade. That's what I honestly think is going to happen. I think he's going to be a guy that is not going to move until draft. And I could be completely wrong, but to me, either he's not going to get moved or he's going to get moved on draft day. That's what I think is going to happen.
I could see it.
In a perfect world for the Jets, it's day 2 of the draft, and we don't have to give up any of our number ones.
Yeah.
In a perfect world, like night 1 ends, Debo's still a 49er, and now Joe is on that phone. And now I threw out this scenario today on in Proud New York Jets fans on Facebook. If we take the 10 pick and we get Debo, we traded Jamal Adams for Elijah Vera Tucker and Debo Samuel.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It could be the greatest trade of all time. But then I also threw this scenario out in the discussion. What if Joe moves him for the Hill package, the 2 2s and a 3? But night 1 of the draft already happens, and you get Thibodeaux and Jamison Williams. And now you can let Corey Davis walk after this year, right?
Yeah.
And now you have Moore, Debo, and Williams as your 3 wide receivers going forward. And now you can transition into an elite passing offense on top of having a ground game that can demolish people.
And you don't care if Williams doesn't play the first month because you got Debo, Elijah Moore, and
and now you use Corey Davis as trade bait once Jamison Williams comes back.
Yeah. Well, those are 2 good scenarios, but another one is, what if you let's say we do give up 2 2s. What I think the Niners would probably want the 10th pick because I don't think they have a first round pick. I think they pick is in like the 2nd round.
And the Green Bay Packers have 2, and the Detroit Lions have 2.
Have 2, yeah.
We have 2. And if you notice, those are the 3 teams to be in on Debo right now.
Yeah. So I think if we were able, if we were able to get him for those 2 2s and a 3 or whatever, if we utilize that 10th pick to trade down and get that compensation back, maybe get some second rounder and some more change, and then take, another guy. But that would be amazing too, because you would have Debo, you would probably have Thibodeaux, and then with that other, late, first rounder, you could end up either taking another edge, getting 2 edge, or addressing the offensive line with, Tyler Linderbaum, depending on how far you trade it down. So there's so many options. There's so many options there.
So what movie am I going to watch? Braden wants to know. Braden, I was thinking we usually just look through movies and look for something good, like we have like everything on our satellite dish, like all the different kinds of channels we look on, all that stuff. But I'll tell you, Braden, because of you, I'm going to tell my wife, let's try to find something that was made in New Zealand. Like, I just want to watch a movie where everybody's just from New Zealand. So I could just hear Braden talking all night. Like, just just singing Braden all night. Like, I think that would be fun. So if you know any movies that are New Zealand made movies, Braden, share it with me, and me and my wife will look for it and see if we can find it. Okay, sorry I cut you off there, but Nick, but I had to address that question.
How about this scenario?
Yeah.
We trade with the Saints, and we have 10, 16, and 19, and we just take 16 or 19 and send it. So we still end up with 2 first-round picks and Debo.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's a lot of possibilities.
Not a big fan of him. He's not my favorite. I don't have anything against him. I just like other guys more than him, but say we trade 10, right? The 49ers are adamant they want 10, but we now have 16 and 19. Okay. We get Debo for 10. And then you have 16 where you could take Nakobe Dean. You could take Karlaftis. Maybe Johnson is still there. If we're not taking him at 10, maybe Jermaine Johnson falls a little bit. You can still get a good edge rusher. You have an elite wide receiver now. And you can get a linebacker like Dean, who can go sideline to sideline. There was a play I saw of him today where the slot receiver went in motion and he was the linebacker on that side. And they threw a swing pass and he shot through everybody and made the tackle for like a 3-yard loss. Joe, did you see the play I'm talking about today?
I think I've seen that before. I think.
Yeah, like he saw the guy going in motion. He just took off because he knew the play and he caught the guy. But man, that speed changes everything because that's somebody. If you had Thibodeaux and then you had like someone like Dean too, now you got elite speed in your front seven as well. So Mosley makes a lot of plays, but Mosley's making a lot of plays that he catches downfield. Dean would be making plays before they turn the corner and get upfield. And then you mold Dean to be the middle linebacker the following year, and we can get out of the Mosley deal.
Which is vital.
Huge.
Gotta get out of it. Gotta get out of it. Or restructure it. Mark Reese is saying, so wait, the Jets 1 p.m. game is on at 10 a.m. Yes, it is. Yeah. And you know what? Just so you know, I don't know if Joe agrees. There's nothing like waking up and having brunch, mimosa, Bloody Marys, just a nice brunch, and not having to wait hours for the Jet game to start. You wake up and you're ready to go, and you just have. It's like there's nothing like a brunch Jet game. It's like it's
I'm not gonna lie. I've had some rough Saturday nights in my life where the 1 o'clock game has been like that.
It's wonderful. I love it. I love, waking up and being able to watch the game and enjoying it. And I do those live, we do live reactions on my channel as well, Long Beach Joe Jets. And we watch the game together. It is phenomenal. Being able to wake up, watch the game. Hopefully, we get a win. And if we get beat real bad, it sucks. But you also still got the rest of the day. You know what I'm saying? You can go out, you can watch other games as well and continue on. So, yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's one of the things that, because I remember, man, when I grew up, in Brooklyn, growing up and waking up and I'm an early riser, I can't help it. And it took forever. I was like just watching anything football, pre-games, just let's get to the football. Let's get to the football. I used to go to Dunkin' Donuts, get a dozen donuts and go to my friend Jason's house, his Jet family, and we'd watch the games. But man, like I love it now, man. I love getting up and like having to rush. Let me rush and pick up, pick up breakfast and everything, get everything set up and right away. And then what I love is when the games are over, you still have some Sunday left.
Yep.
Which is nice. So and Monday Night Football, we get to watch it. We don't have to worry about going to sleep for work the next day. We just get to watch Monday Night Football.
Yep.
It's sweet. What is this? Shooting my shot right now. Debo trade is already in place. Only reason it hasn't been announced is San Francisco doesn't want a team jumping them at 10 for a wide receiver. So what that means that you're assuming that we're going to give a 10 for Debo. That's what that's saying. Because he's saying that.
Yeah. So basically, he's saying that the 49ers have a player in mind, but they don't want to make the trade official, maybe until on the clock at 10 to see who their option is.
Right, to make sure they're definitely going to get the wide receiver they want.
That I would love to be on the clock. And then, you know how like they have the green bar for Jets are on the clock? Like last year, it was purple for the Vikings, and then it breaks like Thanos and fades away to green. Yep. It wasn't even completely green yet, and I jumped up at the table at Miller's Ale House and yelled, "We got Barrett Tucker!" And they're like, "What?" I'm like, "We traded up for the lineman." I didn't even stay inside the bar for the pick. I went outside because my phone was blowing up. Who are we taking? And I told my friend Kathleen, who called me, I was like, "Tell everybody you're with. We're taking Elijah Vera Tucker, the guard from USC." I go, "You'll be right. Trust me." And I go back in, and they're like, "You didn't even see the pick." I'm like, "I knew who it was already."
There was no doubt when they made that trade. I mean, even if I was in doubt, I was watching Jets Talk 24/7. You know, and Ryan and Greenbean, and as soon as they made the trade, Greenbean said, "VT, we're getting Vera Tucker." No way! Like he knew it right away. Like there was no question.
Yeah, I got up. I didn't even see the pick get announced. I came back in, and my kid, everyone was like, "How the hell did you know who we were taking?" I'm like, "I knew we were taking him."
Yeah.
But I would love to be on the clock this year at 10 and it'd be green and fade away to red, and it says the 49ers are on the clock. We know we got them. Like there would be the only reason that trade happens.
Yeah.
Mark would love Thibodeaux. Let me tell you something. Part of me would rather give the 10 than the 35, 38, and 69. Because
because now you still have 35, 38, 69. You could trade back up into one if somebody falls who you like.
Right. Yep. And Thibodeaux becomes what that 10 pick everybody wanted to be anyway, a wide receiver. Exactly. Like we fill that hole at 10 with wide receiver. We still get our 4. We still get and then we still get all those other picks that we liked. And like you said, I mean, I don't think we trade out of 4. I think we would get the edge at 4. But you're right. We would have the ammunition still to trade up into the late first round if there was somebody else.
Yep.
And now you're getting an impact player, and not just an impact player for the Jets. You are getting one of the greatest weapons in the NFL. I know he doesn't want to be used as a running back anymore. That's fine. We're going to build it so that we don't need to put you at running back. You're going to be our wide receiver. We can throw the guy a wide receiver screen. He could take it 85 yards on any given play. Anytime he touches the ball, he's able to take it the distance and outrun people in the secondary. Yeah. You add that type of skill to the Elijah Moore elite route running, to Corey Davis going over the middle, and now you got a jack of all trades. Of anytime he touches the ball, he could take it the distance. In Samuel, we are cooking with gas, and then the sky's the limit.
And what you're doing,
adding a unicorn almost as a wide receiver.
Yeah, and what you're doing with that as well is you're absolutely helping Zach Wilson. Yeah. You're doing everything that we have failed to do for a lot of our former franchise quarterbacks, right? We did nothing like this for Sam Darnold. We put him in one of the worst positions to try to be successful here. We've done it with other quarterbacks as well, where we've done nothing for them. And you see that this is completely changing around, so that if we bring you here and we draft you high as a quarterback, we're going to do everything we can to figure out who you are as a player. Do you suck? Or, is it that other things that we need to help you with? And so you bring in Debo, and that just answers a lot of our questions there at wide receiver. And it puts us in a situation where Zach Wilson can now go out there and show us who he is and what he's going to be able to bring to the table.
And in 3 years as general manager, he would have gotten us a number 1 wide receiver, something that we haven't drafted since, I think, Lavernius Coles. Right, Moss we drafted, but Coles was like our number 1 for a while there. He got us an edge rusher, something we haven't had since 16 years ago, and he's completed our offensive line, which was the bottom of the league. So in 3 years, Joe Douglas will put an awesome identity on this team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, it's about answering the question of Zach Wilson, who he is, because I think one of the biggest mistakes we made with Sam Darnold was going into late into his rookie year deal, up until his option, was we were still trying to figure out who he was. Who are you? Is it your fault that you're bad, or is it our fault that you're bad? And that is the worst position that you want to be in as a general manager or as a team, a franchise, period, is to take a guy that high, to spend that much capital, and then not have the answer. And that's why I personally think that's why we moved on from Sam Darnold, was because we couldn't even play that game of chicken where we'll give you one more year and then we could not do that. It was like, look, let's clean the slate. Let's move on. Let's draft this other kid and bring him in here. So the biggest thing is to have an answer to that question so that you know who he is and who he isn't.
I want to so there's a discussion going on in the chat. Oh, you have it actually up now. Go ahead. Yeah. And then there's a couple more off of this.
Yeah. So Clutch is saying, because we just spilled our guts about like why we would see the advantage of giving 10 instead of those other 3 picks. So he's saying, why didn't we do that when we tried to get Tyreek? Why did we offer 35 and 38, but not just one of our first round picks, like the 10? And my answer to that is, we don't know that JD didn't offer them the number 10 pick. And they said, no, we would rather have multiple picks. We want 35, 38, and 69.
And they accepted that deal too. And I saw the other comments that come in after this. Tyreek did not have a no trade clause, but Kansas City gave him the respect to pick where he wanted to go. Mm-hmm. So there wasn't a no trade clause, but they treated it like there was, where you can approve what team you want to go to. So teams had to make a qualifying offer to Kansas City. Our 35, 38, 69 got accepted by Kansas City. Miami's trade got accepted. Our trade value was higher than theirs on the trade value chart also, with 35, 38, 69. So we put in the better offer, but Tyreek Hill wanted to go home.
But also
Miami, no state income tax. You could sell Miami Beach a lot better than you can Florham Park.
But also nobody was going to neither team would have made the deal if Hill had the power, because he had to be willing to sign the extension. Right, because nobody's trading all that draft capital without the extension. So even if the Chiefs said, too bad, you're going to the Jets, they offered more, Hill would say, well, I'm not signing an extension with them. I'm going to play 1 year. I'm going to leave. And then the Jets would say, we're out.
Yeah, exactly.
So that, so Hill had the power.
Yeah.
He might not have
the offers, basically.
The offers were
contingent upon a contract extension.
Yeah. And they were comparable.
Once you get the okay from the Chiefs to negotiate with him and his agent, once you strike a deal, the trade becomes official. If you don't ever make a trade, if you don't ever make a deal with him, there's no getting screwed over by the Jets, basically, or Miami for that matter.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day,
the trade is contingent upon agreeing to an extension.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it was his choice, like Nick said as well. And we made our offer. If you look at the trade chart or the trade value chart, it was comparable to basically a 10th pick anyway. So, we made a solid offer. We did our thing, and he chose Miami. That was it. That's where he wants to go, and that's the end of it. Do I think it was the best choice? No, because you playing with Tua. So good luck with that. You know what I'm saying? Good luck.
We get Debo. We get a better, younger receiver. A more complete receiver than Hill. It could be the biggest blessing in disguise for the Jets. Yeah. If you're going to become a good team in the league, you need to miss on some things that maybe lead to something better. And if we get Debo with his skill set, he's a more complete wide receiver and he's a better complement to Moore. I know Hill is Hill going to be Hill without Mahomes and his ability to extend plays? Because a lot of the big plays that Hill makes are broken down pockets, Mahomes buying time, pointing or breaking down in the secondary, and then just scampering across the field whatever way Mahomes breaks. Mm-hmm. Yes, I mean, he's very, very unique with his speed, but I am more of a give me the big body prototypical wide receiver who could still break away from people. Yeah. Give me the guy that on 3rd and 7, I could put a slant on his chest. I don't need him to dance around everybody. You know what I mean? He can just catch it and run through people.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I'll disagree though, because I mean Tyreek Hill, what he completely changed the way you cover the Chiefs. There's a certain way you have to cover them. Often the Chiefs would literally just run where it was just all go. Everybody just go down the field on these routes. Literally, that's what they were doing against a lot of defenses. And it was because it would scare the living crap out of opposing defenses, because you have to look out for Cheetah. If you do not figure out a way to get him, if he gets on top of that safety, it's over. If he gets even if he doesn't get even, if you're like a yard away, he's gone. So I hear what you're saying, but let me tell you something. Tyreek Hill is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
And I'm factoring
Debo's
that
great wide receiver
Debo's 3.5 years younger, too.
And that's look, Debo's wonderful. I would love him on the Jets as well, but Tyreek Hill is something else. And what he did with the Chiefs and what I think he's still talented. He'll go over to Miami and we'll be seeing him twice this year, but again, he's going to be playing with Tua, so things are going to be a bit different. But the speed, the athleticism, the ability to be shifty, all that stuff, dude, he is deadly. And we have to make sure we account for him when we play against him.
I expect Patrick Mahomes to see more blitzes this year than he's probably seen in like the last 3 years combined.
Yeah, I mean,
because now you're not not shit scared anymore of getting burnt downfield by Tyreek Hill, right?
I mean, well, they still got guys though. A lot of people still,
but they don't have that speed.
No, well, they have other guys. I think they still got Hartman. He's really good. They have other guys that can come off that bench and produce it. Let's not be.
And what they signed Juju,
Andy
who was
Reid,
the other one? And ABS.
I think
Valdez-Scantling.
Yeah, and so they still got guys like you said as well. They just added Juju. They still got guys, but let's not not forget that Andy Reid is still there. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Like this dude has been scheming up offenses like just insane. He's one of the best offensive minds to ever be in the league. So it's like
I call him the quarterback whisperer.
Yeah, they're going to be all right. They're going to be okay. Now they might have to find a substitute to be, to go in there and get it done. But again, they have such a deep wide receiver core. There's other guys that can come in and really get the job done. And again, you still got Travis Kelce out there too. So go ahead and send all the blitzes you want. He'll dump it right off to Travis Kelce, and Travis Kelce is a ridiculous hard guy to bring down when he's running with the football, And again, they got backs coming out the backfield. They have so many things that they can do well. And again, we've seen Andy Reid scheme up offenses to get the ball so quickly out of people's hands. People forget Alex Smith was successful there for years. He was just literally throwing 10-yard, they was keeping everything in front of him. The offense was moving down the field like insane amounts. They were just near the top of the league every single year.
Was Chad Pennington with a better team.
Yeah, I'm telling you, he was so.
You also got to look at the draft. Kansas City has 2 picks. If you want to talk about taking the speed off the top, I mean, what if they grab Sky Moore?
Yeah.
I mean, they as far as they could replace the deep threat. There's some fast guys that are going to be there when they pick.
Mm-hmm.
So Christian Watson, there's debate whether he's the right pick or developed or this or that, but the guy the guy is fast. So there's guys they can pick that can just, they could just jet deep and, make the defense have to think about it.
Mm-hmm. And what another thing is too, and there's been some things swirling that the Chiefs could be in the talk for Debo as well. They got the capital. Now, depending on how much they'll be able to pay Debo, would he be willing to go there and take kind of the deal that they might have been trying to offer Tyreek Hill? That's there. They were in the running too before Tyreek just said, what, I'm done. I want to go, elsewhere. So they could be in the running for him. So they could replace him, and it would suck for us, but they could replace him with Debo. To be completely honest, they're still in the running for that too. I know us, the Packers, and I think the Lions, or not the Lions,
and that's where we're
Packers are really in the run for Debo right now. But
I think
Chiefs are a dark horse
because we're the AFC team.
Yeah,
they don't want to trade him to the Packers because the 49ers still
Yep.
think that they can, they'll see them in the playoffs. You don't want to trade him there and then you get beat by him in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think that it's a huge bonus to us that we're the only team in the AFC involved. Normally you want to trade a guy out of conference. It's very rare that you see Kansas City send them to Miami. Usually you ship them to the other conference and they can only burn you if you face in the Super Bowl, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but
that's
I think
right
the loss of Tyreek Hill for Kansas City, I think it makes Mahomes become more of a timing and rhythm quarterback where you want to get the ball out now on time, where you don't have that safety valve or that elite weapon just running sideline to sideline 40 yards downfield anymore. It'll make him maybe become more of like a West Coast 3-step, 5-step, get the ball out on time. You got bigger bodies like Juju and Valdez-Scantling now, who you haven't had really there. It's been small, speedier guys with Kelce being your big target. They brought in Josh Gordon, who's 6'3", but they barely used him. I think they threw him like 2 slants this year. One was a Monday night game against Buffalo, caught like an 8-yard slant. I'm like, oh, that was pretty cool. And I don't think they threw him another one the rest of the season that I saw. So I think you might see start to be like the evolution of Mahomes from going from like, not that he does this all the time, but he has a lot of street ball qualities in some of his big plays where he's scrambling around, he's running around, and then he hits one downfield because the coverage breaks down. I think you're going to see him be more in rhythm and more in sync with and start to evolve as a passer. He can always fall back on that other stuff, but I think that's the only thing missing from his game is being consistent with getting the ball out in a timely manner.
Well, I think that, I mean, I know he struggled. They struggled a little bit, especially earlier this year, but he's been that guy before. Like Patrick Mahomes isn't just wasn't, and honestly still is one of the better quarterbacks in the league. There was a time where he was just hands down, the best quarterback in the league without a shadow of a doubt. So it's not like he doesn't have that, rhythm guy where he can get the ball out quickly. Like I said, I know that they struggled this year, particularly early. There was a lot of interceptions. He was throwing a lot
and
of
got away
passes.
From that.
That was getting interceptions. It got a little bit kind of, all-star game-ish where he was just kind of doing crazy stuff. But once they kind of, leaned back into the basics and got back to principle, you started to see that. So, like I said, I understand what people are talking about with the Chiefs. They're going to be missing Cheetah, but I think they'll be fine because I have that much belief in Patrick Mahomes. I think he's that damn good. Him and sadly, Josh Allen, who's ascended as well, Lamar Jackson. These are the guys that are really, being top of the league right now and handling business as far as quarterbacks. And of course, Aaron Rodgers and other guys. I don't want to forget those other guys too. Aaron Rodgers is unbelievable.
Does anyone think JD knew Tyreek was going to Miami and was just in to push the price up? I absolutely think there's a strong possibility that he took his best shot, but said, not only am I, but there was like a double win. Not only taking my best shot, but if we lose, I still have my picks and I made Miami pay more. Maybe, but was that his complete motivation? No, he didn't offer more than he'd want to give because what if he was wrong? Whatever
he commented, he self-assessed after that, and he said, direct quote from him was, "We were in, and we had some discussions internally, and it was borderline being reckless with what we would have had to pay out."
Right. And I thought it was too much, maybe a little. Like I was happy about the potential of him. Not that I would have been mad, but it would have been a big punch in the stomach. It would have been big. Like those 3 picks, I would have been ugh, and 30 million in caps,
I mean, I understand that, but it's like when you're getting that type of talent, right?
Yeah.
And you're getting that type of production. And again, I understand, the according, like you said, 25, 30 million, whatever it was that we would have had to pay him. But again, Zach Wilson's on that rookie year contract. We're a team where the clock is ticking. And that's, we talked about that as well, Jeremy. We've seen teams around this league. We saw the Bills. Do this where they had a guy on that rookie contract and they said, we got to do as much as possible to start building around this guy before we have to pay him the type of money that quarterbacks get in this league. And so I think we would be set in the spot. I think JD tried his best. He took his swing. He tried to give up as much capital as he possibly could logically and not get fleeced because he doesn't want to do that. And, at the end of the day, Tyreek Hill wanted to go to Miami for, reasons, the tax stuff, all that other stuff. So it is what it is. But I think we did the best that we could there. We made the biggest swing that we could.
Yeah. I don't think he was in it just to I don't think that was a factor.
Not drive up the price.
I don't think that Joe Douglas isn't playing games where what if you're doing that and then all of a sudden it's like, all right, he's yours and now you got to pay him. Like he's not going to put himself in that pickle.
Exactly.
What if the Chiefs call the bluff? Like, all right, he's yours. And you're like, oh shit, we didn't want this. No, Joe's not doing that.
Yeah.
Oh man. So Iowa Jets fan is, by the way, a celebrity now. He was on Green Bean Show on Monday. He's very excited about how he did and feels that he is a celebrity. So unfortunately, he is because he's a Jets fan, he can't be on my Saturday draft because I'm representing the Jets and I need fans of other teams. But I do want to say officially, because you did come late before, welcome, Iowa Jets fan, you butthole. Okay. And Long Beach Joe, but I do want to say this. Can you do me a favor?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is funny, and the people in the chat are gonna believe this, and understand what I'm talking about. So don't worry. So we had an incident with our old friend Rusty Spooner.
Okay.
he got into it with one of my guys who I had live. Like I had like one of the guys in the chat was live and playing the fool, and words were spoken. And the guy I had on didn't handle Rusty's chat very well. And they got into it, and then Rusty got upset with me and left. And I'm just left. He's angry at me. Blah 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 blah. So anyway, can you, like, when he calls in and you're talking to him on your show, can you say, Rusty, go back to Jeremy's channel, and you know what I mean? Like let's end this nonsense, because Rusty.
Long Beach Joe, you are now the negotiator. You are Samuel L. Jackson. You are the negotiator.
Rusty is like half the players we talk about here. The tape we showed, like are his players. He was one of my guys discovering players. Leo Chanel was a nobody. He was a 5th, 6th round projected pick. And Rusty, I feel like Rusty single-handedly got him up into the world, So anyway, I don't know if he calls in or anything, you could say, hey, by the way, I'm on Chaos with Jeremy. You should watch me there, Rusty. It's like, come back. They want you back there.
Come back home.
I hope you guys, work it out. We're all Jets fans, and I don't know what happened. I'm not taking sides or nothing like that, but things happen. I hope y'all work it out. I'm sorry that happened to y'all.
Yeah, it's just a messed up thing, because there's like tempers, things get out of hand. But come on, in real life, you get into an argument with your friend in the bar, you don't just like walk out of the bar and you never talk to the guy again, right? I mean, give me a break. The next day, cooler heads prevail, and you work it out.
Yeah.
But he's the reason you're here, like, and not in the way that I mean, like, he's the one that pointed me towards you and said, yes, Joe will be open to talking Jets with you, Jeremy.
Yeah. I was on the show for that.
He made it happen. I
was in the show when we had that discussion.
Yeah. Like I said, I always say, I love, and salutes and respect to Rusty, because, me and Rusty go back a minute, and I really love, talking about the team with him. He's a great fan as well. But yeah, I love connecting with Jets fans. I truly do. And I always tell people, we all know what it's like. Okay. Nobody is a bandwagon Jets fan. That just doesn't exist. Right? You could be a bandwagon Chiefs fan. You could be a bandwagon, Rams fan, and all these teams that are constantly. We really have grinded. We know the pain. We know the despair. We know what it's like to go into a season and just know that this is not going to be a good season, and then just watch it play out. We are, we love this team through and through. So there's a certain type of camaraderie that comes with that. There's a certain type of just kind of family building that comes with that. So, I love chatting with Jets fans, and I love sitting down and discussing this team. So
yeah, it's good fun. Tonight was great. I think I have to kind of go. I have to get that soup. I mean, we had a snack before. I like to eat snacks, but we had a snack before to tide us over. But I'm sure my wife wants to get that soup that she had. We got like this soup from New York City shipped all the way over here.
Oh wow!
Like Gold Belly, like this amazing soup. So from this famous Ukrainian restaurant in New York. So they give the proceeds to the people of the Ukraine, because their family. They're sending the money over there for relief. So it's like for a good cause. Mm-hmm. You've probably heard of it, Nick. Velk. I can't say their name. Velk. No, it's that famous Ukrainian restaurant, like Second Avenue and like 10th Street or something. Velksna, Viksna. I forget. But anyway, we should. But anyway, I gotta kind of get cut and get going. I hate to, because we have so many people here enjoying the show, but that's why we do other shows, and we'll be back in the future. And Long Beach Joe, I know that, or you should know that you always had an invitation to come back.
Absolutely.
Like just tell me, when and where, the time, like which day works, Sunday, Friday, Wednesday, anytime you want to come back, just hit me up on Twitter. You're like one of definitely just awesome YouTube content provider and host, but also a great guest, and just, straight down the board. Great. And so I appreciate you being here. Why don't you talk about your channel a little bit more, because we still have a bunch of people in here.
Yeah, thank you so much. So again, Jeremy, Nick, thank you for having me on. I truly appreciate it. Like I said, I love talking Jets with Jets fans, and you guys are, the best, man. So again, I want to thank y'all, and salutes to everybody that is in the chat as well. For those of you that don't know, my name is Long Beach Joe. You can go, you can catch me across my social media. Go to my Facebook. It is Long Beach Joe Jets. On Twitter as well. It is YoungJ000. You can also follow my show's page as well on Twitter as well. Is at the Long Beach Joe. A talk. I'm also I have a live radio show along with my YouTube, which my YouTube again is Long Beach Joe Jets. Also live radio show. We'll be doing a live draft party. Okay, we'll be watching the draft together. That first round, we'll do a live radio show directly after the draft. Call in. The number to my radio show is 515.
Hold on. I want to put it in my phone. Hold up.
Okay, thank you. Also, Jeremy, I'll share the link to my my link tree, which has the links to all of my stuff. I don't know if I don't know if I can share that in your chat, but if you could, that would be wonderful.
Well, if you put it on Twitter, like if you message it to me, I'll throw it into the description.
Okay, wonderful.
But if you want to also, I mean, I don't know if if you want to put it in the chat right now, put it in the chat. But I'll also I'm going to put you in my description permanently. So just send me. So on Twitter, definitely send me everything you want me to put, and in the about part, I'm going to add you in all your info.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, and again, thank you for that. So the number to my radio show is 515-602-9639. Okay, 515-602-9639. Okay. Call in. I take all callers. I respect everybody's time. So, we have callers. Please be patient. The only thing I don't allow on my radio show is cursing. It's a family show. Don't call into my show cursing like crazy. I will get you out of here faster than we got Adam Gase out of here. I'll get you out of here.
3 years?
Yeah. No. Way shorter than 3 years.
2 years, right?
2 years. Way shorter than 2 years. 2 seconds. I'll get you out of here. Don't call into my show cursing like crazy. All right. Anything else, again, I go back and forth with people. I may not agree with your take, but we can definitely respectfully hash it out. And I hear everybody out and I give everybody their time. So we do live radio shows. We also continue those throughout the off season. We'll be talking about the team, after draft moves, all that stuff. I also post content as well on Long Beach Joe Jets. We also game too. I play video games as well for those of you that don't know. So if you ever catch me, we play Street Fighter, Madden, NBA 2K. We do all kinds of stuff. And if you go to my link tree, I have a gaming channel. I have all the other stuff as well. I put up under content that's coming as well too. We have a lot of fun. We also do live watch-alongs as well during the season. When I have time, we watch the game together. We have live radio shows directly after the game discussing what goes on with the game. So please follow me across all my social media platforms.
For you. This is the most important question you've been asked the entire night. PlayStation or Xbox?
Oh, no.
I'm a PlayStation guy.
My man, I knew it.
I'm a PlayStation guy. Look, when nobody can get their hands on the 5, I ain't gonna lie to you.
I
got the PS5. I got the PS5.
Okay.
My wife got it. My wife pulled it off. It was my wife. She pulled it off. She waited up till midnight and did one of those things where you get it and she got it at cost. She got it. She pulled it off.
Oh, I'm still for it. As long as I can stream and watch everything. I'm like, I don't need to update yet. You're right. When I can't play anything else, there's more important expenses in life right now.
We're all patiently waiting until they become more available. You know what I'm saying? But yes, I'm a PlayStation guy. I respect everybody though, but I'm a PS guy. Okay. And we game on my channel too. So we play Street Fighter, NBA 2K. So when my schedule kind of clears up more, we'll be able to get back to the gaming. But the radio shows, we continue those. Also put up other content talking about the team as well. We do all that stuff. So please hit that link tree, as well. When Jeremy puts it in the description too, hit that link tree. Follow me across my social media platforms. I announce when I'm going to do shows, and we have a lot of fun. I'm telling you, we have a lot of fun. So
awesome. Yeah, we got to. I know you're part of my Proud New York Jets fans on Facebook because you post in there all the time. Mm-hmm. Let's connect, man. I'd love to come on your show. I'd love to chop it up with you and for sure and get on there.
Yeah, call it. Like I said, we will do the live radio show after draft. Please let me know. Call in and we'll talk, man. We'll talk because we're going to be having a lot of fun.
If we hit the picks that I want, I can't guarantee no cursing. I'll choose another day. If we get Thibodeaux and a wide receiver, that would be a bad day for me to call. I will not be able to contain myself.
Yeah, well, try to
either from excitement or from breaking bones when I attempted to do the worm. Either way, I'm going to be in pain or I'm going to be too ecstatic.
Yeah, I'm a family. I'm a family show. I understand, and I get it because this team could take you up and you'll go off. It could take you down too and you'll go off. But it's a family show, so we try to respect that. But yeah, we have a lot of fun. So that's what I'm doing over there. And again, I want to thank everybody, you, Jeremy, as well, just for having me on. Nick, salutes to you. And again, all the people, man, seriously, the people. I really, really enjoy connecting with Jets fans, connecting with people in general, and talking about football and having a good time. So,
all right.
I got to say hello to my number one fan, New York Jets fan 4, my number one and only member of my fan club. Because now I got Mr. Mozzarella cursing me out in the chat with effing Nick Shine. All right, whatever. Can't please everybody.
Yeah. So, so anyway, everybody have a great one. Look for me tomorrow night if you're around. If you're not out partying or whatever, you want to check out the a draft with the. I'm going to get as many people as I can, even if it's just me and Clutch. But hopefully, we'll get some more teams represented. So check that out. And Sunday, we have a great show planned with Dom C Sunday night. Awesome show. Just wait. We're gonna have a new segment. It's like a game show with spinning a wheel, all kinds of stuff. I'm not going to say anymore. You're going to have to be there to find out, but it's going to be awesome. And I can't thank you enough, Joe. You're unbelievable. You're just one of the best there is. So
thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
I'm a fan of your content, and now I get to collaborate with you. It's an absolute privilege and honor. Nick, it's love having you as a co-host.
No. Shower me with praise too. Now it's my turn.
Nick, I like having you on, Nick. I like having you on.
Nick, you're swell.
Nick is one of my new best friends, buddy. So yeah.
I know. I love you, buddy.
22 will be the year.
Let me know about tomorrow. Like I said, I offer whatever. I've been doing full round 1 mocks, so I'm up to date on what every team needs. Whoever you need me to fill in for, I'll fill in for the other teams that we can't find anyone for. You know what I mean?
Maybe I'll give you one. Like, let me see who I got, and then we'll throw one at you.
That's fine.
Okay. Good night, guys. Take care. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much. All this support is just unbelievable. I really appreciate it. Oh, before we go, let me do one thing. I didn't realize you sent me the link. So, I just hit the link by accident. Okay. Let me put this link in too. I'm going to put it in my bio, the whole thing, but we could do it right now just so people could hit it on the way out. I don't know why it's giving me such a hard time cutting and pasting it. Control C.
I can't comment.
We still got 27 people in here, so that's pretty cool that we can get this. So there is Long Beach Joe's link that you can hit, his link tree, and I will put that in my bio. I still might need you to Twitter it to me because I'm not going to have it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'll give it to you.
And Jerry, I messaged you on Facebook because that was what I had open. Phone number. So you have that phone number in our message box.
Fantastic. We'll get it all in there. Thanks, guys. Everybody have an amazing night. And I will leave you, because we're going to do a draft tomorrow, I'll leave you with this. I like Hutchinson the best, and I don't think Linderbaum is worth a top 10 pick. Thibodeaux slipped, and I am going to grab Thibodeaux. The Giants took Khalil Elam. Good for them. Kenyon Green is a guarantee in my mind. He would be such a dream pick right here. Evan Neal is still on the board. I'm not going to pick this out. That 44 pick could be tight end. That 44 pick could be a good linebacker, a good safety. We could drop back 1 pick and pick up a second rounder for New Orleans. We got options here.